check out, he barely made double digits. And it's not always the work of the solver, but it's certainly the thing that springs to mind when I think of this big team who, over the course of 2020, and even Big said it themselves, they underperformed. This is the old versus the new, though, as this brand new roster, FrenzyGoKill, coming in, great result over Wave, a 13-0 on this map. Can they do it against Big, who, I need to keep reminding you, wanted to play this map and specifically chose it?
You're an FGK fan and you want this one down and out, you're really looking for them to win this one quick and fast. And speaking of the Frenzy, speaking of FGK, there are a couple of picks that come up quickly. Gabi will trade it back, but it's not a positive trade. 2 for 1. So they're still trying to push through. Brams pushes down a long. Obnox in a lot of trouble, but still it does kind of get evened out here by Alexer, as it does eventually fall into the hands of FGK. Ooh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of neat. Looking up at the skies, looking up to a victory. The first pistol win here for FGK. And, you know, I'm expecting some similar movements than what we saw against Wave. Brams pushing up a long. That's nothing new. The whole team does that. The whole team comes in full swing. And they're always looking for an extremity to push because they feel like they can. It's the confidence of this team.
If you want to check out the other semi-final that's going on at the moment, Defuse versus Oxygen, it's over at twitch.tv/DefuseGG. Honestly, this is the better semi-final. Let's be brutally honest. We get to see a newly sanctioned Big map down, a round down even already, but at least a little bit of an opening from Alex over on the Cypher up against FrenzyGoKill. We saw a little bit of that best of 3, not all of it, but that's my own fault. And FGK were very aggressive with taking space on the defense. They have a new opponent here that they might need to be careful of. Not Machina. The Eldron isn't going to quite catch him. In fact, he's going to try and slink on by, but it's not going to quite work out as well as they're hoping as Alexar picks up a second. And as they execute full steam ahead, Vac hasn't upgraded because he wants the op. This might be a bit of a closer duel than he wants at this point.
It didn't buy up here for Vac. Maybe looking for a big buy in the round to follow. That's so good. Doesn't convert onto another. He's just chipping him away. They're so low. A Frenzy's definitely going to hurt even more. Even as he's stunned with this fault line, he might have been able to get something done. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the case. And this is already being has been a very fruitful round for Big, but it does boil down to Gabi, who's got 17 HP, a recon dart, and a Frenzy. And he's already using one of the above mentioned. So down to the 1v2. Camera is there as well. He's going to be looking for that B side plan. He doesn't have a lot of time left. He needs to make sure that this counts, and it's the Q that's going to be counting his coins, counting his cash to find that frag, sit on a pile of money. And now is, of course, Big's opportunity to answer back. It's their gun round, but FGK aren't really looking too bad.
Not at all, and I think you sort of look at why this roster was put together and the potential that it has. Bit of a dicey round though for FGK. Big at least finding an opening, which is something that I think Wave struggled to do on this map in the 13-0. Just finding a cheeky pick here or there that could turn the tide of the battle. Wasn't really enough, but at least it keeps FGK's economy in a little bit of check. Vac has been playing from the short position more often than not on this map on the defense. But they are keeping a keen eye just to make sure that he doesn't go a bit over the top. And all of this utility thrown into mid might pull away these defenders. They are very much trying to isolate angles one by one. And Vac versus Alex is a battle that could last for quite some time, considering neither are really moving at this point. But Vac, at the pivotal time, just flicks up, gets the shot onto Alex as he peeks across. And now we're seeing FGK push out a bit more.
Okay, Brams, I see you. Brams, Brams, Brams! Where did that come from? Bottom fragging the last time we saw the Haven map. The IGL doesn't stand for in-game leader. It stands for... okay, well, I couldn't think of anything on the fly as he's also taken out of the picture. Maybe it doesn't matter that much anymore. Sender will take down Aslan and finish that one off. My creative juices weren't flowing there in the moment, but Brams, man, what a start to this map.
This goes here. Yes, this should do.
Big are gonna have to save, right? They actually tried to push up. I'm just trying to sort a couple of bits and pieces behind the scenes, so bear with me. Should be a straightforward round, though. It should be another one FGK could add to the board, considering Big bought up fully last round. It didn't go their way. 100% round win rate so far for FGK. And could be adding to it a little bit more, considering it's sheriffs across the board for Big, who got a couple of frags so far in this half, but not really enough to scare FGK all that much.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit afraid for Big, especially when you lose that third round conversion. That's usually the trade-off. Now you're in an eco, potentially a fourth round here given away to FGK, depending on how this one pans out. We've seen this drone spot before, but Machina has always been there to trade. And now, of course, as they start to funnel in, that's the first player that comes in. That's the Tailwind. That's the Jet. But Opnox with the Stinger. It's a great start. Vac pops the knives, and he's still surviving. But he is paranoid. The Flash comes in. It's his own teammate's Flash. But it's down to 2 final players here for Big. So it looked a little dicey, at least in the execute. It was a little chaotic. But the dust settles, and it does look like FGK are in a position to close this one out, as they're going to start to try to hunt them down. And really, this next gun round for Big has to, no pun intended, has to be big, has to be huge. They've got to stop the economy from FGK and put a round on the board and not lose too many players in the process and farm orbs. There's just so much to think about for Big, being down 4 rounds this early in the half.
That goes there. Oh, this is a nice spot.
I think both these teams are in very similar positions, but in very different ways. FGK, obviously, a new roster will have to bring all of these parts together with how they synergize, making sure that everybody's playing their roles, all working as a solid team. Vac, even before the Hunter's Fury on the defending side that came out of Machina, gets that thunderous pick with the operator. It's so difficult for Big on a full buy round to go up against this. Brams really taking it a little bit too deep that he gets caught out, but he's still able to get another kill onto Big. A 3v5, a Hunter's Fury available on the attack for God B. But Sender again is pushing up. That's one he's expecting more around this corner. The paranoia kind of clips him. It didn't look like it was going to for a second, but a 2v2 and an A execute coming on through.
Yeah, this could be doable here for Big, but you have to consider that Fiku's already on site. He is in the smoke, though, so he's got a little bit of time. Good recon dart, but they don't know where the other player is. Recon dart does not connect, or if it did, it didn't do enough damage. Machina will end up picking that one up. Fiku will find the other. A solid round here from FGK. It did almost go to the way of Big. And, of course, some of those punishing mistakes were just FGK pushing the extremities, pushing quite quick, pushing quite fast. But that's what we saw against Wave, and honestly, it's not a big surprise to me. It's just up to Big to really punish those pushes, punish those extremity plays where even without utility, they're just slow walking in, and that is so annoying if you're playing as Big.
It seems that this map might be better favored to FGK. It could be an interesting scenario, right, where both teams really prefer to play Haven. So say Big picks this map. You know, there is Frenzy going, oh, we would have picked Haven. We could play that. Let's go Ascend. We like Ascend. Maybe they don't. There's a lot of mind games playing here. Playing to your strengths more than trying to ban out maps you're not good at. It really does mean that going into this tournament, whether it's one of these two teams that qualify or not, they have to play to their strengths. They can't ban out, say, G2's Ascent. They can't ban out FPX's Bind. All of these different maps and pros and cons they've got to work around. And Vac has just been on fire.
Wow.
He has to miss a couple now and again, but this is a tall order. Considering this guy played up against Seeded, he's really taken a few lessons. And this is just styling on them at this point. FrenzyGoKill are doing exactly that.
Wow. Very well done. Very impressive stuff from FGK. 6
Who's
rounds
been your most
up.
impressive player? Sorry, with you saying impressive, I wonder what, like, out of the weekend, what players have stood out to you, either on this team or across the board?
I forget yesterday who we saw. The Reyna I really enjoyed. He had a very simple name. It was like Walter or something like that. Like I don't quite remember, but
There was a Vince.
Vince, I think it was very impressive. Vac here for FGK. I've always loved to see his play. He obviously on Nolpenki was very comfortable on that roster. Now seeing him here, he just seems like a whole different player. And I think it's because he's backed by great pieces from all around European Valorant. And you can see here they work together as a team, pushing on both fronts. Great communication, and really having the ability to push Big to the limit, because it doesn't really feel like Big are having a whole lot of fun on this map. They're playing the game, but it doesn't feel like they're enjoying themselves.
Just because there might be some newer viewers coming in for the semis, Big are having to take a tactical timeout very early in this map. This was their map pick. The whole point of this tournament was to pick the maps that you want to play. And so far, this could be a very straightforward 2-0 if FrenzyGoKill have their way. Looking to be the much stronger team here. And a roster that a lot of people had maybe potentially within the top 5 of Europe. Look at this. It's like a group huddle. Right, guys, this is what we're going to do here. We're going to take a picture with this camera. Could you go in Cypher's perspective, actually? There it is. Look at them. If these guys get signed to an org, this is the picture that you need. Forget like actual pictures of players. This is your roster. Look at these guys. Now they're actually getting ready as we're in the timeout. But yeah, like Big are in big trouble here because this is the map that they wanted to play on. The next map, they will be going to the choice of FrenzyGoKill. So already you're in a bit of a difficult position. These are best of 5 games. But if the first 2 are lost to Big, it's over. They're out of the qualifiers, and FrenzyGoKill work their way to the grand finals of at least the qualifiers to make their way into the main event next week. Not good luck so far from Big.
Back with the opening frag. Let's get traded, as Aslan and GoB do have something to say about it. A lot of ultimates available for them here. This could be their first round. Shock darts come through, do a little bit of chip damage. Player behind Gong, and LX are playing from distance. There goes the Owl Drone. They're just trying to get the tag on Descender, which they do, but now the smoke has subsided. Aslan with one is just quickly traded, waiting for that player behind Gong. It does fall onto the shoulders of Machina, and finally the B exec works out for Big. They didn't really use a lot either. They still have a lot of ultimates on the table, 4 to be exact, and for FGK they've got 3, but they didn't have to work as hard. It's just really, can you get 4 more in a row? Can you make this a 7-5? Is this salvageable for Big? That is the bigger question, I think. A great round, but there's still a long way to go if you want to keep things close.
At least they're off the board. But the economy of FGK are going to be built up to an extent. But look at this execute. They've already made their way with fairly little contact, and Aslan has found his way in. VQ has to hold 2 different angles, and a second comes in hands of the Jet. More utility coming in. Vat coming to the rescue with the Bladestorm. It's going to be even more. He's absolutely stripping the numbers of Big. Just one more player. It's Alexar. They know exactly where he is. And you've got to say that Vac's performance so far in this tournament has been exceptional.
Vac is just a whole nother beast. We're having a look, of course, at the replay. This is where things heat up. He's got it up. He realizes the Blade Storm is the only way that he can play close. And look at this. This is just brutal. One more time. And the flash from Sender. That's another great point. You know, usually we just get to see the flashy plays from the Jet. You know, they go crazy, they go wild. But it was Sender that set up that second frag. Got to give credit to the support. Being a support main from League of Legends, I know the feels. When you don't get any credit at all, you know, you get like all these setups and you do quite well to... Just like that, except Vac set himself up, but he's being chased down! Oh boy, that was close. And he's trying to play close with the out, but of course you can't. But Aslan, despite finding that frag, is down to 5 HP. Neural Theft to secure. Where are these players coming from? They know Brams is on the flank. And they have the Cypher at least to stop him for the time being. But the rest of the team, they're pushing up through heaven. There's a 2-man drop that's coming through. They're waiting for Brams, though, as is Elixir. But now the execute is almost going to come through, or at least the retake, rather. Elixir just trying to stall off Brams. And the rest of the team in post-plant positions. That's 2 in succession. 1 from heaven, 1 from the flank. And it's all down to Zonix. It's such a tough spot. 4 don't even fall for FGK. They will take that 9th round and say thank you very much. So we're nearing the end of this first half.
You failed. Now sleep.
Just as he thought Big might be able to pull things back in their favor. Again, Vac has been able to shut this down with the operator. 13 and 6, and we've played 10 rounds. You compare that to Aslan. He's 9 and 9. He's not been too far behind. We haven't seen him be able to buy up an operator, and even then, I'm not sure if he's the kind of player that would want to use it on a regular basis. We haven't really seen any other strong performances out of anybody else, and another eco required from Big. Just as a sidebar, with the other semi-final going on at the moment with Defuse and Oxygen, somebody picked Icebox as their home ground map.
Ooh.
Somebody was like, I want to play on Icebox. So you got to watch out for teams like that. And you got to watch out for Aslan. The flash is set up nicely from Obnox, and he's continued to push in. He goes right past Machina. He was like, what was that? But he still manages to get away with a pistol. Oh! What is he doing?
He took out the knife. He was about to stab him in the eye. Gabi says, not today. I'm the only sheriff in town. Down to the 1v2. Almost doable. But oh my goodness, that was pandemonium.
Last round.
I know there was an eco for Big, but Machina really just starving for bullets there, trying to get involved. We'll have a look at the replay. It's starting off consistently with Aslan trying to get a lot of this pressure towards sewers to try to stop these early lurks, especially down long. And then Machina just buys himself a handful, has to stoop down to Big's level, gets 2 burst frags. Very nice to see as we're in the last round of this half.
I thought they nerfed the right click. That was nasty. You gotta not do that on a regular basis, Machina. I'm gonna have to put a warning on this stream. Big is still only 1 single number and double digits for FGK. They're going to add to it. Again, aggression coming out of Brams. He has been so good on this Omen. This team is really starting to look very scary coming into the VCT era. But Big at least bringing it down to a measurable amount up until like Alexar gets caught out from Machina's aggressive push. This is a masterclass on Haven team.
It's a great insight to this, you know, potential future of Europe. You know, this team is looking like they want to be up there in the G2s and the FPXs and the summons. They want to be recognized for their ability to frag out and do some heavy damage. And to be fair, these are pieces of these are players from pieces of teams that have done well or have had their shining moment. And maybe all of these players have come together to build something special. We're seeing that live. Before the story comes to fruition, we're seeing the story of FGK develop right before our very eyes.
And it's a tale that starts off with a great start. Really gets you captivated very early on. And for Big, this is maybe a new chapter with the addition of Obnox, but it starts off with a bit of a murder, let's be honest. FGK have been so good on this map. And central aggression now coming in on the first attacking half of this pistol. Alexar holding within the smoke, but it's his teammate Aslan that gets picked. Look at Alexar trying to push through the smokes to catch people out. Not only is he giving away his position, but his victims survive.
Last player standing.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And that's just not a reference to what I've been playing during these breaks. But FGK, Vac, and the entire team. I gotta give... You know what? You asked me who I think is the most impressive. Sender. 13, 4, and 10. This man makes me want to play Breach. Screw the Sky that I said yesterday. Gimme that Breach. He's been playing phenomenally. Just amazing setups for his team. Yeah, Vac looks great. But I think some of his frags would not be possible. Some of his plays would not be possible without the support from Sender. And we always, on the Ryan Central stream, give credit to the support.
You just know how it is. But Vac wants to put this one to bed, and he does so in strong fashion. God B did not stand a chance. The economy is near enough non-existent for Big. Vac has made all the space. Not being checked at all from Alexar. I think this is done, Simo.
That tends to be the way that it feels. 2 players remaining. And, you know, at least kind of confusing to me is why Big didn't force up. Okay, a little bit easier. Sender in trouble, but he's got support from Machina, and Machina's going to make it work. FGK.
13-0, so I guess for Big, that's a good look. Though whilst this is the choice of FrenzyGoKill, they didn't look as convincing as they did on Haven. So the worst is done. All I need to do is perform here. Then we will play out a full best of 5. Best of 3 in that scenario. But this is match point, series point, semi-final point for FrenzyGoKill. And they're on the attack first.
Starts off a little aggressive. Of course, Vac is about to get involved. Oh, does see one, the shoulder peek. Oh, man, he's just bobbing and weaving, but he gets punished. Aslan down to 73. FGK are in a little bit of trouble. Does get at least nullified temporarily. Gabi's going to find one from range. So far, this pistol is working out amazingly for Big. It's just down to 2 players. One in Sabrosa, the other down on the lower side of Catwalk. Recon Bolt's going to spot 2. That's huge. I didn't expect it to spot the player backside Catwalk, but Big have been playing this quite well. They've got a flank coming in now from behind, but you might not need it, as Obnox and Elixir will seal the deal. A solid round for Big, and that's how you start. That's how you want to start, especially on a map like this.
I think in the series that we saw them play up against Wave, FGK didn't really use and utilize mid to their control, which is something that we've immediately seen from Big. It was nice to make sure that they can control the rotations, to push up, to stop any B splits from coming through by taking control of mid. Much better from Big. Managed to double the rounds that they've taken so far in this series at least, but it's still a long way to go. No buy up on the side of FGK. A bit of aggressive utility thrown out from Big with Obnox using a lot of the stuff from Breach. And it's a complete split on the side of FrenzyGoKill. There are a couple players over on B main, as you've seen, but the spike is over on A. They're trying to get a lot of attention, and they are forcing out a lot of utility on the side of Big.
So far, one comes quick, but it's on the opposite side of the map where we see Elixir stuff a push. And Aslan finds a 3K in B main alongside a pick in the courtyard. But we... obviously, on the opposite side of the map, missed Elixir stuffing a push in through A main while we were paying attention to the opposite side, both extremities being played by FGK. But now here comes the gun round for them, their potential turnaround victory here to try to slowly catch back up. Is Big very happy about those first 2 rounds, especially considering how the last map started. But that's in the past. We're going to be moving on. A new day, a new map, and a new opportunity to take this back to a best of 5.
Now FGK are very conscious of mid. They're still playing so far away from it. It's working the extremities right now, but this utility is certainly that aftershock forcing and flushing out Machina from that corner. It's a straightforward kill from Alexar to get, but Aslan has spotted the Brams is trying to push on ahead, was in his smoke utility before he was caught, and he's able to get just a little bit more. This is a Big that we haven't seen so far today, not at least on this stream. And much better for
Wow.
Aslan, who's taken full control of this in a full buy round on the side of FGK.
This is huge. Huge for Big. Down to one final player. I think we'll see the battle of mid a little bit more often than we give it credit for. We saw that a little bit against Wave, but it was more so extremity play on the outside. But Big don't want any part of that. They want to show their aggression, they want to show their domination, and they want to show that they are not going to be pushed over like they were on Haven.
Trying to flush out some of these corners that VQ's playing from. He is surrounded on multiple sides, but the flash is going to connect nicely from Obnox. Zonix was there throughout, trying to make sure that he wasn't killed by any nanoswarms that came in from VQ. But a much brighter and better start from Big on this map, certainly on the defense. 8-1, Aslan taking full control of this. Catching Brahms, who again was focused very much on utility, wasn't expecting Aslan to be played closer. But even just the subtle play to be hiding within the smoke, to push on from beyond that. This is the kind of lion that Big need in their roster right now.
Give them no ground.
Gonna be the force up here for FGK, or rather just the soft buy to get them to where they need to go. And really, it's this big guy right here, Aslan, that's been playing phenomenally. Pushing up through mid, trying to find early picks. Put Big in a position to take down the forces of FrenzyGoKill. So, early looks, we saw a heavy stack towards a lobby, looking for orb control, looking for counter orb control from Big, but it didn't really come to fruition, as Big still hovering around this mid side, looking for picks from range. Frenzy does dink Gob B. He does not fall. Of course, the Phantom's going to prove to be much mightier. Now the fast execute. They just want to get the spike down, I think, if they want to get a couple of credits here for FGK, but they got to make it onto the site first.
One enemy
So far, it's just Back that makes it in. I mean, obviously, he's a jet player. He tailwinds forward. He does find a revenge frag, but it doesn't look like he's going to be alive for much longer.
Managed to isolate him here. Oh, he does get a headshot with the Stinger, but still, it's a tall order to try and clear a lot of these angles. Wallbang even gets in a good portion too, but it's interesting to see where FrenzyGoKill are struggling in this map so far. They're really giving it to Big in a similar fashion, well, vice versa on Haven. It's the fact that they're able to keep breaking out economy on a consistent basis. But you look at the ultimates that Frenzy have available, Lockdown, Hunter's Fury, not quite online for Big yet. So certainly, if they can get a Lockdown positioned in an aggressive spot on the attack, there's no utility that Big would have available to them to shut it down. So that's more likely why we're going to be seeing perhaps an A execute coming through at this point. But a Killjoy's over a B. Not giving up too much. Default in is typical. And we'll start to see exactly where they want to go in this round. But for me, this Lockdown needs to get planted.
Hunter's Fury as well is available for FGK, but not for Big, so they won't have that utility to try to clear out any lockdown. We see the B main push and catwalk control for Big. Not really looking towards that A site. Not even really a lot of Killjoy utility available. Sellers cleared. Aslan is waiting. There's an alarm bot placed, and he's going to have to take care of it eventually, but he's just got a very aggressive angle, and he's getting a lot of information off of this. He doesn't know if there are any players towards the mid side. That's what the Owl Drone is here to clear out, because they've been playing catwalk. They haven't really been playing towards A main. So now, here comes the push forward. So Aslan peeks, he finds Sender, and that's going to be a little bit of trouble for FGK. Hunter's Fury comes through, trying to clear out the back heaven side of A. So far, it's just Aslan picking them apart from this B lobby, and they can't deal with it. They throw a smoke down to deal with it.
Here, one enemy remaining. Flawless.
Straightforward cleanup and a flawless round adds to a flawless ascent so far onto Big. We're really not seeing the same team. It's a tale of two very different maps, and funnily, ironically enough, both teams thriving on the other's map pick, which is so integral to how this tournament works overall. certainly the main series. And now stuff is online now. If the lockdown gets placed, kind of like you mentioned from FQ, B now has the Hunter's Fury to instantly demolish it if it becomes a thing. But this is another eco coming through, a much faster execute with the Blade Storm. And Vac pushing all the way towards the back of the site. And he catches B.
And Aslan is still a problem. Shock Dart. There's a player that's about to play close. Catches him off guard. A huge opportunity here for FGK to put their first one on the board. Alexer's got something to say about it. Finds two. And it's down to Vac. He's got the knives. A great reposition. As he can now wrap around if he wants. He's just going to wait for a very tough angle for Alexer to grab and to try to reposition. That was a little bit too close for comfort for FGK. They were sitting very pretty down to the 3v1, but of course Alexer catches them off guard through market. Solid round to put on the board. They desperately needed to do so, but they still have that lockdown. It's still available. They've got a Rolling Thunder now to pair with it from the shadows as well. A lot of utility pieces available on their gun round. This could be a momentum builder for them, as Big are sitting very nice in the economy.
Track them down.
Might be a aggressive hit yet again. FGK, based on an eco, were able to take that round just by upping the ante, changing the tempo, and really taking Aslan out the server for a while. Rolling Thunder is good to go, and that information can be played off. It's going to use it, and it's going to enable Vac to dash in, but he actually dashes straight past the breach. Obnox is still there. It allows Brams to be taken through, and he's able to get a couple before he's taken down. A shame that he wasn't able to spot the angle, but Big still managing to have a hold on this, and the lockdown is used aggressively.
Yeah, and of course, there is a jet up and moving. It's Aslan, but he does eventually end up falling. Gobby trying to use that Hunter's Fury to clear out the possible angles that they could be hiding, as the lockdown's already gone, or it was already taken out somehow, some way. But EQ, like being planted a little bit late, he's planning it for Dice. This is going to allow EQ to play a little bit closer to the smoke, and of course Machina's in an off angle that players don't normally expect. Recon Bolt comes through, but I don't even know if Gobby knows where it's coming from. The turret's taking him away. He's just playing it aggressively, but Sonics! Ooh. What a swing together for Big, playing together as a unit. Great work. Take back that round. It was looking grim, the 2v2. Machina, I think, was in a little bit of a tough spot, not knowing where Big were coming from. The round goes to them.
And it was just smart play because they know that the Killjoy turret is there. So Gobby almost offering himself up as bait, getting the players to peek off of him. And Zonix manages to trade for him in a super strong round. Like, this is some really cerebral and smart stuff out of Big. They really didn't seem to have any claws, any aggression on the Haven map. But now they're fully containing what FrenzyGoKill are trying to do. So many ultimates used as well. The lockdown, Rolling Thunder, all coming through in that round. And plenty still for Big to work with. Aslan with the operator is going to get smoked off, at least from Brams, changing exactly where he wants to play from. So he's going to move over to check market. But look at this mid-aggression, actually. Whilst the guns aren't necessarily good from FGK, they're really, again, going to try and give it to Big. But Vac gets caught out with a dash.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He was looking to try to capitalize on their knowledge, right? They knew that a player was going to get tagged by the Owl Drone. They didn't want to give the Sova enough time. Probably not expecting Aslan to be there. But they did Owl Drone him out. So they kind of should have known that there was 2 players in market. Now it's down to 4 players. They really have to deal with Aslan. That's kind of the big problem. And it should be Vac, right? Like, we should be looking at an off play from him and try to rival him, because he's just really unlocked and online. I know it's an eco, but the man is untouchable. The man cannot be stopped.
One enemy remaining.
Look at this.
To his tally, yeah, could get a 4K now. It's just FQ left in a similar position. Without Sender, there's not really enough utility to uproot where this operator player is playing from. In a similar sense to what we saw before, Vac, whilst he's top fragging for his team, can't consistently get the money to buy up an operator. Could do it now, but he'd be risking not having any armor going into this round. They just need to start to get some executes going. And really, the majority of these rounds have been shut down before the spike is even a factor in this game. That's why we might be seeing a very quick execute coming through. A Hunter's Fury is available. Could be used straight away on the side of Machina, but Big are waiting for them. 2 players waiting, and they're going to peek around this corner at the right time.
Oh, shock dart's definitely going to hurt. There is a player in the wine cellar, but Big... Oh, FGK, you've cleared it every round! You've cleared it every round! Elixir comes up huge! He finds 3. That's brutal. Vax got to go back and do his homework, but he gets some too. Brams will finally stop the bleeding, but a Band-Aid's not enough for a gushing wound. There's blood all over the floor as Big win round number 8. Man, they've cleared it every round, Ryan. Tough. Tough.
It really comes down to God be shocked out there too, just to make sure that nobody on this side of FGK can peek to see that Alexar moves there. And the setup with Obnox's flash, he's been so good. All of these set plays on the defense from Big have been incredibly smart. They've worked out well. And FrenzyGoKill just don't have an answer to it. 17 frags now with the operator is Aslan, and he's pushed up aggressive. Camera is going to be taken out. It's going to get a bit of information to work with. But Frenzy are in anything but. They are completely docile now. Whilst they have an Aldron going in onto the A site, it is going to be heard from Alex R. He has a lockdown defensively ready, so he's playing off of the site. He's happy to play for the retake at this point. And even through the smoke, he gets a kill onto Machina. Oh, this is tough from FGK. At least FQ gets a kill with the Sheriff, but it's still a 4v4.
He actually also pushes off the angle as well. Brams. Whoa! What a quick snap from Elixir. Oh, man. I thought he was just going to spray and find another angle, but he does end up finding the frag. Could be the potential lack of armor. Zonix get up from behind, but FQ with the op. We'll find Zonix down to the 2v3. A doable round, but still very difficult. Considering 2 picks have come right into the pocket for FQ down the B main side, it makes sense with 30 seconds left that they want to push this B site. I feel like they've got the opportunity to, but Big is going to push from catwalk. They might catch them on the timing here. No, they will not. So, Vax got an upgrade. The rest of Big are coming in and wrapping around from the B main side. Smoke comes in. Here comes the recon bolt to try to catch them planting early. There's another op shot, but they're coming from B main. Shot's going to be good for God B. You don't need the flank as it all boils down to Vac. First one's going to come easy, but now it's a 1v2. Turret was there. There's the turret. There's the swing. And there's the frag for Obnox as Big clean up round number 9.
It's been so difficult for FrenzyGoKill to get much on the board. The only round that they've got so far was that eco rush onto the B site. They at least got the spike planted. They're just waiting to see if they can pick up an operator or any other guns that they can manage, save a little bit of money. But let's be fair, the economy for Big going into this last round is going to be more than okay to sanction any form of... I mean, Aslan's picked up the up. He's full on max cash at that point. FrenzyGoKill at least can buy some guns up and have 4 ultimates. There's 2 rounds left even, but still, the point remains that the economy for Big is going to be more than fine. And there's 3 ultimates on their side to use over these next 2 rounds. FrenzyGoKill just need to get something together. They've got plenty to work with, but it's not been going well. Sende 0 and 10.
Placing alarm bot. Here.
And the man of the match, Aslan, has been playing so well. So well. They'll have 2 rounds left, including this one. Thank you for your FGK. You're hoping for a 10-2. That's what you're working towards. So 9-3 would be great, considering how these rounds have gone, especially like that. Things get a little bit difficult. At least there's a trade. Vac's going to find Elixir. Lockdown as well, finally used. But I like this flashpoint here from Obnox. He's ready for the push-in, but they slowed things down. Red carpet's ready to be rolled out to try to reposition that lockdown, but it doesn't quite get there. It's still there. Doesn't get any of the players detained, but the player, Brams, coming in from behind. The DP works out. There's a player for logs, but they've smoked things off now. Of course, the frags come through. FQ with 2. It all falls on the shoulders of God B. He does find 1, but unfortunately, a knife's not going to help you in a gunfight. And FGK find round number 2.
The way that Big are trying to set up some of these off angles, they're cute plays, but FrenzyGoKill just winning out with the mechanics there. FreeQ hitting some really nice shots. Now it's more damage control. Still having plenty to work with. The lockdown doesn't quite go to plan, but it still works out well. And the Rolling Thunder idea from Obnox not really connecting in the way that he was hoping. Hunter's Fury, Rolling Thunder, both available for Machina and Cinder on the side of Frenzy. They're both playing over on A, seeing if they can catch somebody out relatively early, perhaps. The Bladestorm is also thrown in from that.
FGK have made sure to save all of their utility, all of their major utility, all of their ultimates for this moment here. Dobby trying to use the Hunter's Fury to try and find some early success, but it doesn't quite work out. They still have players towards the B main side. Elixir with the first one onto Brams. The red carpet's rolled out. Vax going to find one, but there is a Jet lurking from the opposite side. Will that be the 50 check? No, FQ will find him, and it's down to 2 players for Big. Sender, in and out of the dice. Finds a couple of snake eyes right between the eyes. It's up to Gopi in a 1v3. And there are no odds in his favor. Machina will find him. A 9-3 half. And I think if you're an FGK fan, especially with how that started, you're happy with that performance. If you're a big fan, you're more than excited about how this map is going. But the sides have swapped. Ryan, we know this map to be a little bit more catered to the defense. It's really up to Big to close this one home.
Depends how Big are going to do on the attack. We saw much better stuff from Frenzy at the end there. Playing more very early rounds, a lot of early aggression, catching out Big, because as soon as the timer started to tick down below a minute, that's where Big started to place himself in nice positions, taking space, winning duels against Frenzy. It's a shame that the half had to end there for Frenzy. Now they're defending. And going to be set up pretty default, and A execute is looking likely from Big. It's whether they set an aggressive pace or not. It is going to force Brams off this angle, and the shock dart does a little bit of damage, but not too much. It's whether this Ultron too as well catches enough information to work with. And Brams is expecting this B split, and he'd be A split even, and he'd be right. Aslan taking all the space for free, playing pure contact. Brams is going to come around from the back of this corner, and he's not going to expect players in behind him.
Oh, Aslan really nullifies that damage, but it's still a 3v3. That's what we have to remember. Oh, Machina sees a hood up to no good in the neighborhood, takes a little bit of damage, returns a little bit of damage, but now they want to start to push forward. Alarm bot's been triggered, and it's just utility after utility. There's the big scary man behind the generator, Aslan, and Vac goes up close and personal. He'll take him down, up to Elixir, and the damage is good as FGK will win the pistol. A great momentum builder for them. They will find round number 4 and begin the catch-up process.
It's a long way back, but you are still a mapper. If you keep your composure and know how to play this defense, you might be able to sneak away with the win on this map and to make your way to the finals to play up either Oxygen or Defuse at this point. There's no force up from Big. They're not it's not necessary. They don't need to try and take a gamble of that caliber. At least the Sheriff is in the hands of Zonix. He's seen what he can grab as well with a couple of other pistol upgrades, but nothing too expensive. It's really these battles of the extremities of the map. Utility use, trying to build up Gobi, a Hunter's Fury. Frenzy, whilst they want to dictate the play, they don't want to overstep their boundaries. Utility's good, but Big only need one opportunity to take, and this could all start to unravel.
Right here. Right here.
Taking the orb can be punishing. We see that, of course, firsthand for Elixir. Trying to build up that lockdown. Big maybe wanting to play around that and try to farm as many as they possibly can. It could be their big engage tool on this B-side exec. And from what we know, it looks like Machina is going to be playing here quite standard. Most Sovas do. He will be paired up with FQ. Smoke down for Market. And of course, the recon bolt's going to make things a little bit difficult because they'll be spotted pushing in. Of course, the digital Molotov is there. Machina down below. The Molotov, the turret rather, is going to find Obnox. Back playing close, finds 2. A flawless round for FGK. And that is a bad news because they came into that what I think mostly pistols. Oh, no, not necessarily, but it kind of looked like it. But a huge bonus round coming in here for FGK. Huge bonus round. They didn't lose a single member. Big need to win this one to start building that momentum and really stop the economy from getting too out of control from FGK.
Now, what's the strategy for Big now on their first full buy of this half? A lot of utility and focus put towards A main. I've got VQ there that is going to try and face as much as possible. Not having the nano swarms to throw out. I think he does it on the main chokehold of A main. There's another one set up on site, but he has no other utility to just throw out at this point. Vac taking a leaf out of Aslan's book, and it works out well as he gets the kill onto Zonix. Big trying to take mid control, but we're seeing Frenzy starting to loom and constrict him a little bit.
Oh man, the Bulldog. Brams almost converts onto a second. Fiki will be like, thank you very much. I'll take that. Thank you, Brams. And now, of course, that is the spike down. Recon Bolt not going to spot out Fiki here as well. So they could just hold this down. This is a difficult round to be a Big fan. Of course, Alex are just trying to turret peek and only sets himself up for failure. Machina with 2. The man goes wild with the Stinger. That's the gun round out of commission for Big. FGK likely going to be up to round number 7 here. And I know, Ryan, looking at the chat quickly, people were like, oh yeah, this is over. Okay, Big's got this. Yeah, no problem. Look at this comeback. It's huge for FGK, and it's coming in very quickly.
Vac is catching up. I want to see a round where both these players can have a operator in hand, but it has been very much one-way traffic on either side. The Sheriff connects so nicely, but it doesn't quite kill Fiki, who is going away to cry. In fact, Brams has picked himself up in this position just to try and make sure that Big don't take the space away, knowing that they did so much damage to the Killjoy. He is going to find a lot of people making their way from short. Can't get one before Godby trades him through. More pressure coming in. 5 HP FQ is going to stall him with the Nano Swarm, but that's all he could do at this point. Delay the inevitable.
We'll find an upgrade. Give that to the Omen. EQ's still alive, and Vax positioned up by the double box on Heaven, waiting for the ops to come through, but FQ is injured, so one frenzy shot, and really a dink from anything is going to be insane damage. See the Owl drone checking all possible angles. They know that they backed away, which means they're probably in the courtyard, at least one player. So you can see the players start to rotate over towards the B site. They are playing passively to give the space to Big. They might think that they've gained the space. You can see Machina now getting behind the backside as well. So 30 seconds left. Big need to make a move, and they're about to do so.
This is a really good read, actually, from FrenzyGoKill. More utility setup and a bit more. We're going to see Big starting to pick up the pace a little bit. Are they going to expect 2 players in the back of this site? Maybe not, but the flash is good enough. But Godby gets a second. It is just going to be him left alive as Machina trying to play from the site. Brings it to a 1v1 against Vac.
Spike planted.
Oh, he was waiting for the... Good timing. Good awareness from Vac. He could have, you know, kind of been a little trigger happy. He was waiting the timeout that it takes to plant the spike to guarantee that even if he faked it, he could change his decision last second, right? He squeezed out all the possible time. Now for Big, despite that being an eco, you've done the damage, right? I mean, yes, FGK economy is still great, but at least you were able to leave it down to Vac. They had to rebuy, and for Big, that's your best win condition here. You're on a gun round here. This is where you can make it hurt again.
Right here.
And sneak up that round, taking yourself up to double digits.
The Odin is out to play. All 5 are trying to see if he can maybe get a couple of kills. It depends if he gains the information, but not quite. Big are sort of making their break on through. Obnox trying to set up some flashes, but Cinder is there not only with the flashes, but a fault line was in hand, ready to go to try and stun out anybody here. But Big changing up their plan. It's just Vac, very scary looking down this position. The recon dart is going to clear an angle close to him, but not quite the position that he's in. If you've got B here, you are really playing with fire right now, especially when you've got Brams coming into the full 2.
Okay, early start for Brams, of course. He's rising early and he's dominating early. Sender supporting BQ. The fight continues as Zonix gonna find another one. Down to the 2v3 with an injured breach here for Big. Obnox gonna play meat shield duty as he inches closer. He's likely gonna be first contact to see if Zonix can capitalize on a couple of trades. Of course, he also has a lot of utility still available. One frag is all he needs to get that Rolling Thunder. And we might see that come through. It's a possibility. But Big are just playing for time. We have a lot of time left. Recon Bolt's going to spot out the garden rotate. No one is there. No one's home. But FQ is in a huge position here. Here's the turret peak. They know that there's players on site. There's not a lot of time left. And FGK can play around this. FQ now smoked off. Spike being planted. Machina using the owl drone. Perfect time to use it as well. As FQ down to 11 HP is about to find one, but he's flashed. Oh, Vac through the smoke. Recon Bolt's going to reveal him the drop, and unfortunately, Obnox, the clip runs dry. He used it onto FQ. Try to help his brother out. Now it's 9-8, down to the soft buy eco for Big, and FGK are coming for the jugular.
Yeah, their attacking side is just struggling. It did so in the same fashion on Haven. They weren't able to just take those engagements, and whilst they are making it close, some smart play from FrenzyGoKill, just from certain positions, using utility in a way to really push Big into positions they don't want to be in. A full buy is still good, and 5 ultimates on the attacking side. All 5 players stacking up on A. There's a Hunter's Fury to kill a lockdown if it comes through, but no ultimates on the side of these two defenders, looking to try and face as much as they can over on A main. Rolling Thunder is going to connect. The doors are open on the A side for Big.
Thought it was going to be an eco, but it's the force buy up. They still got weapons to play so far. The pick comes easy for Sender, but the utility in the hands of Obnox, it's death that he finds. Back with another, down to Elixir, and as quick as the round began, it ended just as fast. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we're all tied up down to the eco here for Big, or they'll soft buy with Stingers and light armor. Point being, things are not looking good. It's been 8 in a row for FGK. The momentum is unstoppable at this point.
And a great response from FrenzyGoKill. I was a bit concerned about them seeing them go down 9-1, but it's been flawless since. You've got to look at Vac being another one of the main reasons. FQ, we pointed him out before, maybe not performing to the same levels that we have when it comes to how good he can be on the Sentinel role. He has been pivotal. Vac wins or loses that engagement even against God B with the Sheriff. Nice follow-up from utility, upgrades to the operator. Not sure how he's going to be good using it, but we'll have to wait and see. But the Blade Storm shut down from Aslan. Another big thing lost on the side of Big in this 3 versus 4. Godby has made his way into the defender spawn, but his journey ends there.
Not an opper. You know, you can't blame him. Can't blame him. But here's the Odin. I believe does something, makes a particular noise, and Obnox tries to find the refrag, but it's only Vac that falls, and it's based off of a quick push from Gabi in the courtyard. The rest of the team was down cat. Down cat and down bad. Look to double digits here for FGK. This has been this team is just so good. And, you know, I don't want to showcase any bias, but I you know, I don't know who their finals opponent is going to be. It's Oxygen versus Defuse still on the other stream, and Map 2 on Split. I want to see FGK against the best teams. I really want to see what they're capable of. This has just been beautiful Valorant to watch. Yeah, some of their attacking sides need a little work, but it just looks like something's in the water. They've been playing so well.
Vac especially. Oh, he gets the kill as the flash rescinds. He's going in for more, but maybe he's not going to expect Obnox on the corner. He absolutely does not. Could be do or die time now for Big. They have a lockdown, but a Hunter's Fury is an easy counter for Frenzy to use against him. Rams is off on the hunt. He's seeing what he can quite pick up. He picks up Obnox, who's not looking, and the spike.
Last player standing. Headshot.
At least Elixir will find the refrag, but it's all down to him. He has a lockdown. I don't think he's going to use it. Has nano swarms. Might want to save those. Has the turret peak, buddy. Going to use that. No one's there. Still has to go get the spike. He still has to wait for the angles that are set up for him. And of course, the Odin turret, Machina. Ironically called Machina. is gonna take him down. But let's have a look, of course, at the replay to see how that craziness unfolded here for Vac. What a beautiful play coming out from him. The first, okay, see one player tailwinds out, but he gets chased and he holds
Fully
the angle
flashed.
that he remembered was there. Beautifully done from Vac, and now he eclipses Aslan after that round, gives us a 20 bomb, and he's going to potentially finish this map strong. 9-11 on the force buy here for Big.
When Frenzy hit double digits on Haven, Big only had 1 round. This time, there's only 2 between them, but Vac is added to his own tally. Sees at least a glimpse of God B, who's actually going to aggress onto him. Luckily, FQ is there to trade him. Now it's the aggressive play coming out of Sonics onto Cubby. There are 2 players staring him down the barrel. Look how much headway, actually, that Aslan has made. He slipped in right behind these defenders. Go and check him out because he's going to be breaking through onto Gardens. He's tearing through on this defense, and there he is. He's actually slipped in. All the way through the defender spawn, all the way through Gardens and windows. No, he has managed to be the back door onto this A site. The Hunter's Fury is going to try and hit the player planting the spike. Doesn't quite catch it from Machina, but a Rolling Thunder is still available. And a Killjoy ultimate for Big 2.
You'll love to see that, especially with Vac giving up that market control. Aslan found a huge opportunity, but the round's not over yet. Here's the turret. Here's the Rolling Thunder. Does manage to get one, but you've got to worry about the action on the site. The fault line to follow up. There's the Cloud Burst, but he's down to 28 HP. We've got the lurk coming from the window. It's Sonics, and Aslan will help from the opposite side onto Sender. A solid round for Big, and you pointed out as the lurk from Aslan all along, pushing up through the middle, wrapping around. It's unfortunate you didn't have a default there. You didn't have a player jump peeking over the fountain. You didn't have, obviously, Vac, who's been playing in market, looking for those aggressive early courtyard peaks. And Aslan was there to trade. If that was going to happen, he was willing to trade out Vac, but Vac wasn't there. Vac was playing Catwalk with FQ, which they had a good buddy system. He found early success and then does get just, you know, he sidesteps and FQ finds the frag. But great stuff there from Aslan. Keep things close.
We said before that mid was going to be a main area of contention, and if Vac with the operator is trying to float around, oh, just jumps out of his scope there, but he's still able to get a kill on squad B. Knows that Aslan is going to try and push on ahead and does so. It is going to be watched from the Odin from distance, and that Odin headshot from Machina. Make sure that Aslan goes down.
Does get traded. Oh, there's the lockdown, and it's the attacker lockdown. Vac is just playing with just slightly out of range. It's down to the 4v3 Sender. He's actually playing within it. I don't think this is something that they're going to anticipate. He'll get detained. They don't know where he's playing from, and he's going to have Vac support him, but he's still detained. How much longer does he have to wait? The angle's going to be cleared, but he's still, oh my, he was trying to get his weapon out. Oh my goodness, Alexer's going to find him. Oh, that was almost well played from FGK. If Vac was able to find one, they would have been able to at least survive, especially the Killjoy pushing through the arches. It's down to the 2v3. Players on site with Brams and FQ. Gonna be pushing in from the spawn and, of course, from the market. Lockdown has been put. Smoke down to give them a little bit of space. You either have to push forward or you got to pull back. The paranoia to try to push them back. There's an injured Brim on site. No one gets detained, and so now they'll use the turret buddy. Is there somebody on site? It gets destroyed. Headshot's going to be good onto one. Down to the 2v2. Brams playing contact on the opposite side. They don't have time. Brams is just not letting them out. And now as the spike explodes, Zonix will fall, and we're all tied up. 11-11. The repercussions here, Ryan. If FGK win, there's no best of 5. If Big win, we're going into at least 2 more maps.
Oh, it's getting close, and we're now starting to see the lights of Big starting to shine once more. And you have to rely on maybe of the couple of ultimates that are coming through, Godby and Obnox having the Hunter's Fury and Rolling Thunder. And FrenzyGoKill having to be moderate with their buy this time. Vac not having all that much money, but he has a Blade Storm. Activates it instantly. The flash and dash Vision Strikers playing mid coming through, but it has provided an opportunity for Big to use the Rolling Thunder to make their way on A.
It's going to have to be a retake, though, here for FGK. We've got players coming in from the tree room, and it's Vac. He's got the Blade Storm close. Has a Spectre as well. The door breaks down before it even comes through. Gabi's gonna find one. The knives are just trying to find one, but they can't! They can't back! He can't connect. Down to 3 players. They are injured here on the side of Big, but it's still the retake that has to come through. Anything's possible. The flash is avoided. Brams with 1. There's the Nano Swarm. Brams with 2 to the dome. Down to the 3v3. Player for Arches and players in hell, but there is the lurk. Watch out. Here comes the big bad omen. It's Zonix coming in from behind. Machina pushes forward, but it's down to just him. He needs to find one that doesn't have anything left in the tank. Big are at match point to stay alive in this series.
Better late than never from Big. They were 9-1 up. And then it fell down to 11-9 on the side of FrenzyGoKill. Big had managed to turn it on for the last 3 rounds. And those 3 rounds have really started to cripple Frenzy's economy. They can still buy up. They need to bring it to overtime, and they just have enough money to be able to do that with the right kinds of guns. But they have no ultimates. Godby having a Hunter's Fury, Aslan not too far away from another Bladestorm, could be pivotal to shutting this one down from FrenzyGoKill and taking this all the way in a best of 5. FrenzyGoKill, they need to bring it to overtime. Shogdart is going to land nicely at least onto Alex, but he's waiting there patiently. Catches the play and puts it into a 5v4 in their fashion.
Great start here for Big. Fender. Maybe looking for redemption here for the fallen Machina. FGK are playing retake for A. Recon bolt stopped. Doesn't pulse. Still Vac waiting for the entry forward, but no one's coming in quite yet. Big just playing default because they want to try to get these early picks. They found one early, so why not wait for FGK to get a little antsy, get a little bit afraid. Fender knows there's an alarm bot there. They're not playing for B. That's why you see Vac pull off. Alarm bot's broken. He's going to flash them off, and FQ, it's up to you. He sees one, but he's got to be careful. He's going to play the 50 angle. Here comes the recon bolt, but he gets flashed off. Down to 3 players here for FGK. Brams is going to stop one for now. That's Vac pushing out through the smoke, and it's got B that finds him, but still it's Brams for 2. Can't convert it, and it's down to Sender. And guess what? Sender has got nothing. He comes up empty-handed as
Could be over on the Sage has been pivotal to the resurgence of this team. And Obnox has had some turbulent series throughout. High highs, low lows, but what a great chance for him to cement himself into this roster going into 2021.
The other series is currently 8-8 on split. Could be a 2-0, could be anybody's game from the looks of it. And we're exactly on split now to begin this 3rd map. 1-1 in the series. Both teams very tuckered out after the first 2. And we're looking at a push in towards ropes. Bram's going to find the first frag. And Big are going to really wait for Aslan to come online. The wall goes up. Maybe they're... I'm wondering really why that wall went up. I'll have to ask you after. As Aslan goes in wide. 2 picks come in for him up the ropes. Machina will trade things out, but it's down to the 2v2. As Machina finds a lot of success on the site. Sender going to start the plant. Machina's going to wrap around. The team's already made it up onto the rafters, and he's waiting for Machina to come follow up. There's a player down below. Machina just needs to stall out enough. Sender does exactly that as he finds the 4K on the round. And now it comes back to the question, what was that wall doing in the middle?
Did they go across like the mail room?
Yeah, but they... Yeah, so what happened was... FGK pushed into vent, and Big walled off mid and pushed 2 players through ropes. Did they just think maybe they were going to get shot? Like they didn't know how many players exactly were pushing up through vent? That's a possibility. Just not sure.
There are a lot of fakes, is probably the only thing I would think of. Let me go in. Again, questionable perhaps. I think the more interesting thing for FrenzyGoKill for me is the first time that we've seen FQ over on the Cypher, the agent that he played near enough full time with Exile. Now back onto his main as Aslan with the Classic is the first to get the frag, but back on the race is able to trade out. Big have been able to do quite a lot of damage though, considering their economy. Could be 1-0 before you know it, but FrenzyGoKill getting this spike planted over on the B site.
Wow. Big have been doing quite a number here on FGK. Back having to back away, but now they'll funnel in through the smoke. Alexa trying to flank from the opposite side. Doesn't really have a lot of success down into the 2v2. Of course, we know the weapon advantage to be much greater. Obnox waits for the pink shells to subside, and they don't quite do that. It'll be Vac that gets the 4K, I believe, on the round. And, of course, now looking at the gun round for Big. So, thanks to them, they've definitely made it competitive. A little bit difficult for FGK to buy down. And if they lose this round, they won't be able to convert. They'll have to eco down into that fourth. So pretty pivotal for them to continue that momentum. And a huge opportunity for Big to start that swing of the pendulum back to their favor.
Tactical timeout coming in very early. Got to make sure that they know exactly how they're going to be going across this approach. Technical even, sorry. Gives us a good chance to sort of have a look over the series and the tournament so far. Both these teams didn't play at all yesterday. They were automatically invited to the second phase of this tournament, which started today. We did see FrenzyGoKill earlier on, winning out in full best-of-3 fashion against Wave with a 13-0 blowout right at the end. Whereas Big played a full best-of-3 too, but they finished on this very map against CGN, which for them was a good showing at this tournament. Their full debut with the ex-Lunaris roster, and it worked out pretty well. They came up against a team that have made changes. Ultimate out, Obnox in for Big. The tournament run is hoping to continue at this point. Most the tempo has slowed down in this first full buy round.
It's definitely a strategy. Oh, no, it was a technical pause. I was saying, you know, like if you want to really slow things down, and looking at the exec here for the A site, it's a quick push in there from the Jet. The tailwind comes through. Aslan does trade out the player pushing up ramps. It's Brams. But they're pushing past screens. It's Vac that's leading that charge. The boombot comes through, and Zonix no longer stunned by the fault line. But Aslan's pinching in from the opposite side. Unfortunately, as he's dropping, Crosshair goes a little south. Vac now has a huge showstopper to take out Gabi. And this round is exactly what FGK needed. They needed to convert onto the third. Drop down there for Zonix, but I think they know that. Vac is just trying to play close with the Spectre. Oh, sees him. There's the swing. And there are the upgrades as well. So a huge round for FGK here. It started with a quick, fast hit onto A, and I don't think Big were quite prepared for it. Aslan really tried to get a couple of picks on the way out, but he got blinded. Couldn't find huge value off of the Bladestorm.
I guess the question is, if they're keeping the economy low for Big, it means no defensive operator is going to be available for Aslan for a good portion of these rounds. Machina maybe could have bought up an operator, but chose against it. Maybe he's not the kind of player that wants to play it on the attack. So it's really working out in FrenzyGoKill's favor at this point. More of a default split. Boombot's going to scout to see if anybody pushes beyond, but it's just Zonix holding onto the quad in the corner. Aslan, hiding within the smoke, is going to take the peek, takes a lot of damage before he dashes out. But it is traded away just a little bit. The Sage is going to be a big help here. But Zonix flushed out and forced off that angle by Vac, who confirms the kill.
Let's get Brams, though, on the opposite side. FQ opens up the A site. Vac is just trying to get weapons out. As he goes back over towards the A side, he is being slightly chased by Big. They might even stumble upon the weapon that he was trying to hide. Which is kind of interesting. I don't know if it's going to play a big factor because it is 2v4. Ooh, he won't find it.
Oh, they don't find it. It's not often you see that play work out to have that much impact.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Oh, that's unfortunate. Extra orb could have been helpful. But this is the eco for Big. They've managed to take one. How many more players can they take down for what we think is the eventual? Oh, sees one, but unfortunately the first shot needed to connect to really have the value. Vac gonna find the other. A pretty clean round here for FGK. And it was just pushes on all fronts. It wasn't like they 5-stacked and just broke open onto a site. They just played default and pushed in. But now here comes the gun round for Big Ryan. I think this is a pretty important one.
Mostly because of the operator.
Yes.
It's fair to say that the impact of Aslan went up a tremendous amount once he had a sniper rifle and operator within his grasp. He's going to be sort of peeking down ramp. We'll have the help of Alex just to make sure that they're keeping a spot on this angle, but right now it's just going to be FQ lurking in that very passive spot. Majority of this utility is going to be fired out on mid. And Zonix again being very careful about approaching this B main hit. And considering we didn't see much utility, if not any, from Vac, might give some intel for Big to work with.
Smoke is down and it's smoked off B main instead. B will back away. Slow orb gives that control over to FGK. Smoke going down now, and Gabi's just trying to play within it. The wall's going to go up, but he doesn't realize that Machina's already made his way in. That is brutal. Another player will swing. Obnox does manage to find the refrag. Well played by Machina, but Aslan on the opposite front finds great success holding an aggressive angle, but FGK are trying to hunt them down. They're pushing in. Great fault line as well to not let him peek that angle easily. But Vac's already playing up close and personal. Aslan will take him down at shotgun range, down to the 3v2. Red carpet's rolled out. Obnox sees the breach. He's stunned. He's flashed. He's paranoid. He'll take him down as it boils down to FQ. Down in a 1v3. Gonna be very difficult, especially with all the utility coming his way. Now an aftershock to boot does sidestep it, but first one's going to come easy. That's the one that he needed to take down. 17 seconds left. Another one needs to come through onto Obnox, but it does not. And Big win their first round of the map. The round they needed to convert on, left with 2 players.
And they were just so good at tempering the aggression coming out of FrenzyGoKill there, just making sure the B wasn't being pushed, scouting it out, keeping a hold as much as they possibly can over in mid. Really does funnel FrenzyGoKill to play on A, and the majority of control was still in Big's hands at this point. Operator already a good omen so far for Big, is now they're starting to get themselves on the board, but the money's still good for FrenzyGoKill. Bladestorm is good with a jump peek to see if they can spot Aslan. The fault line is going to force him at least away from this angle for a second. They're struggling to really get that operator out on an aggressive angle, and through all of this pandemonium, Brams has managed to slip on by. But for how much longer? Aslan is forced to jump away. Godby with a crossfire at least can take out Brams from pushing further on.
Wow.
Back. Trades him out. Showstopper comes through to see if he can find Aslan, but he's backed off completely. He's back in defender spawn.
He's the last line of defense here on the Heaven side. We do have the Jet Machina pushing in towards the defender spawn. Aslan isn't safe. He doesn't feel safe. He knows that Vac is still in the ropes. That's where he left him. But the whole team's falling apart. He tries to push Machina alongside Zonix, but it doesn't quite work out. A great tailwind, despite being blinded, to get to safety. Ascender will scoop that one up for free. FGK now up on 4 rounds.
And an eco yet again forced out from Big. It was a very chaotic fight, but you've got to hand it to Frenzy being able to instantly identify where Aslan was holding with the operator. Smoking him off, breach utility. That is how you stop an up player from playing. It was solid stuff from Frenzy, and it stopped Aslan from being able to get anything done. This utility usage just to take away this space is so good, and Zonix not only loses that angle, but he loses the sight. They've made their way in, but Godby's Bucky's at least good for 2 before Boombot takes out Zonix.
Now this soft buy is working out quite well. Obnox just trying to get the angle over the box. The flash comes through, and he's a little bit stuck. Lockdown will come in to not let them push any further, but it's down to the 3v3. They're pushing the lockdown. Now it's just down to Godby. They'll escape. They know where he's playing from, and they are very low. So they need to get into a good post-plant position. There is a turret there, but of course it is deactivated. Godby now just trying to clear the angles. Maybe... Oh, Resurrection. This could really turn this around. See how they play up. Camera is in the Heaven side. They'll play towards the ramps. Maybe play towards Flower Pot as well. Okay, so the post plan is set up. Let's see how Big take care of this.
It's a big gamble to bring in the Resurrect on a round like this, but it could just pay off. Look at the health of FrenzyGoKill. Even from the shadows used to clear off this site. Suddenly pressures onto FrenzyGoKill to clear this up. The 4K is available from Godby. 1 kill out of 4 that actually has the Phantom, but the defuse has been stuck. And he still's got it, baby. Godby gets the ace. 3 of those kills with a bucky, a resurrect and clears up the round. A fabulous round for the man himself.
Oof. What a close round. It did start with God B on the bucky, holding down the B site as the most solid stage anchor you've ever seen in your entire life. It's the second
I think
round.
we've seen more aces in this tournament than we did in the Winter Championships, right?
Probably.
Watching here.
I think that's already, what, the second or third one? That's already just as many. There are, of course, a lot of matches unstreamed and probably lots we may have not seen, but
yeah,
the fact that they come in so often makes things that much more enjoyable.
I think that was one of my favorite aces just because it was so smart with the play, but instant response now from FrenzyGoKill. They made the way in. Obnox gets fully flashed. It allows Fact to get a second, and from the shadows is going to be used on the attacking side. But got B added to his tally, tries to find that last player in Brams, who teleported into a position he wasn't expecting. But Aslan, from the top of the skies, leaps down. And the third round is in for Big.
Three to five, 4 rounds remaining in the half. I think for FGK, it's still difficult to say if this map is still attacker or defender sided based on the changes, but nevertheless, a close match is what we're up against.
Here.
Gabi's really revived his team, no pun intended. 9-7-1. Fact's really still been having a great game. Good jump peak here for Aslan, supported, of course, by Elixir. They'll find that great opening pick. Now I think Big are in a great position, at least for the start, on this FGK Eco. Find round number 4.
I wish we got to see more of this Big in 2020. It was not a good year for them. They really underperformed in stuff like First Strike and even local tournaments in the dark region. But this is a much better showing. Obnox has been a great addition to this lineup. But everybody across the board, pound per pound, has been playing against a very fresh roster with individual talent, but we don't know about the team play. B's, on average, I think would get like 8 to 10 frags a game. He's probably on that right now. We're not even halfway done, potentially. Bram's trying to make the play through the teleport smoke, but Aslan watching it on an angle with the operator, and they're catching up to FrenzyGoKill. The thing that's worth adding, though, is 5 rounds on the attack, as we highlighted through the Winter Championships. It's not a bad look going into halftime.
Definitely right there. I think we could finish 6-6. This could finish 7-5. Either way. Could finish 8-4, but I think because Big have started to pick up some steam, I find that a little unlikely, unless FGK really pull out all the stops. Early looks. I think we're going to see a fast hit onto A once again. There's a lot of Killjoy utility there, and of course we're seeing Aslan rotate a wall up to not let them try to catch them on the rotate as well. Aslan is playing ropes with the op. Sheena on the opposite side has a difficult task of Gabi and Aslan combo. But while all that ground has been gained and a lot of that early ruckus has been caused on the A side, it's really B where they want to go. Zonix.
Oh, Zonix.
Back wins those duels so often. Bram's waiting on the box, a great position. They will take out the players lurking on the A side, and player on the site itself, Vac, will fall. Sender will trade that out down to the 3v2 with the A defensive members wrapping back around towards this B site.
No ultimates to really work with, though, if you're Big. Alex is going to get immediately smoked off, but now nobody's really checking the angle anymore. Most are looking towards heaven for this push that is going to make its way in slowly from Aslan. They do spot out Alex out, tries to peek to check the inner corner, but Aslan with a Vandal is going to swap it up to the operator and save. Another good round for FrenzyGoKill, considering that they've been on a couple of losses in a row now. But they get the 6th round. And a nice solid attack, winning a lot of duels across the map, right? Like the Brams stood on the wall, really surprised Big, and they couldn't really gain control from this aggressive play.
Yeah.
I know that both these teams started playing a tournament today because they got a bit of a later invite into the tournament. But I gotta say, I'm impressed with both lineups.
Yeah.
Well, only one is going to make their way to the final, and only one team out of the 4 left in it is going to qualify for the main event. But this is still a great tester for both of these sides going into the Valorant Champions Tour. Don't get me wrong, Europe is going to be very competitive, but these two names are going to be contenders within it, that's for sure. We already saw in First Strike how it's not all one team that's the king of Europe, that there are going to be very many more coronations, and God be is going on to the execute, stopping this Bram's leg from pushing on, but it's where for FrenzyGoKill now to make use of the map without him.
It's going to be up to Machina to hold off the Rams push. That's why you see they've lost a lot of that control. Vac just trying to send it into screens. Nobody's here, though. Knocks from screens itself. I don't think Vac was able to quite hit inside it. Maybe hit outside it. Machina playing so close here in the heaven side. And, of course, oh, that's a roll under alley-oop. Give it to him. The resurrection onto Aslan, still down to 2 players. And I think Big will be able to break through this site. They've got to work together, pushing in from screens and the heaven side. Down to Sender and Vac. Vac definitely is a problem. First headshot comes easy. That's 2. He needs support. Sender with another. Oh, goodness gracious. Golly me, Vac with the 3K and FGK on the 7th round. What a hold against 4.
It was so difficult for them, but the team played this cross angle. Vac knows that he can get away with a couple of kills, but needs Sender to bail him out. First one straightforward. The other one, a bit of a mistake, I think, on the side of Aslan, considering he has the operator in hand. Gets caught completely out, but the fact that Sender peeks him there provides a little bit of space to stop Godby from peeking him further on. One of the reasons why FGK have been able to take 7 rounds on this attack. Their team play, considering they've only been together for such a short time, is insane. And Vac moving over from the Jet to the Rays has been having so much success. There is another timeout going on at the moment, going into the last round of this half. Big really should be taking the positives, I suppose. Should be going above and beyond 6 rounds at this point. You said that you seemed unlikely for it to finish 8-4 for Frenzy, but after a round like that, I'm not too sure anymore.
Listen, say what you will about Sender, but this is like one of the very few times that I praise a player that is not a duelist, okay? This man...
That's a typical North American thing to say.
It is. Oh, yeah, look at me. I like Sinatra. Yeah, the Rays, Phoenix, I'm buying whatever. Point being, this Sender guy, that's all he does. He sends it. But he sends it in a supportive style. He's not the one that's you know, doing all the hard work in terms of trying to entry or trying to push forward like Vac or Machina. He's supporting so well, and it's in plays like that for the good old bait and switch that you can rely on him. That is so key. How many teams do we know that have a solid rock player, a solid foundation player that you can rely on in a bait and switch or good comms, good executes, good situations that you can rely on them to support you? Most times, that player will fall flat. You know, there are situations where a player like that will succeed, but Sender, based on what I've seen in this series, and of course against Wave as well, I've seen nothing but solid supportive style from this breach, and you love to see that type of play.
I think it's going to have so much impact as well. Like, you look at other teams like FPX, you know, you've got Shadow in that team. He's pretty much a breach one trick in the same fashion that Sender's in. And what it means is it allows you to have those foundations to set up. And from those foundations, the ground up, you can have your Zipans, your Shells, and your Angels frag out like crazy because you know that you have those more passive supporting players like Shadow for FPX and like Sender for this team. Everything is coming together for FrenzyGoKill. If you're not excited about seeing this team in the future, you should be. It's a good performance from Big. I'm surprised that they've made it this far and they look as good as they do considering previous performances. But make no mistake, you're looking at FrenzyGoKill. They are very much looking to be one of those top teams within Europe. And maybe we don't see them qualify for Masters, maybe that's a bit of a stretch because only 4 to 8 teams qualified, depending on obviously the international side of it. You could definitely see FGK amongst those. But there's still plenty to go. There's plenty of other teams. I'm really excited at the prospect of seeing FrenzyGoKill, if they do win this and then the finals, to play up against Guild, to play up against Summon, Ninjas in Pajamas with JD and Existence. This team belongs in amongst them, and it's crazy to say that considering we've seen, what, 5 maps of them? This is very early on in the process, and that's the most exciting thing about this. Big, it's been a longer approach. It's been a tougher time. This is a tactical pause, by the way. It's not just allowing me to monologue, but it does. It's a technical pause, so we're going to be making sure, you know, just actually talking about these teams, the narrative and stuff. I can always put on my my jacket, my coat, my parka, and just do my best foreign accent and talk for 30 minutes, but hopefully we get back into this soon as they're fixing a couple of issues, maybe a disconnect or a mouse breaking or something along those lines. But it's fair to say, I'm excited to see FrenzyGoKill in the future, and I sure hope you guys are too.
Looking at the other stream, it is, of course, a little behind, but it's 14-14 in overtime on split. Currently, what looks like to be around for Oxygen, so potentially the flip result. They could be cleaning that one up 16-14, but point being, that map is still going. We don't know if we don't know the opponent yet here for either of these teams that we've got cooking up, Big or FGK. However, the potential if Defuse come back, if they clean that one up 18-16, and we do see their opponent waiting for them on the opposite end. And really, Oxygen and Defuse coming from really different parts of Europe, really different styles of play as well, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so. I think naturally you're going to have more teams sort of in amongst it. I think North America's done really well with all of the orgs and teams involved, but naturally Europe is going to be bigger just because the player pool, right? All of Europe, all of the CIS region, all of Turkey, and even the Middle East and North Africa, all involved within one region. You're going to have a lot of competition making its way through. Now it's really a case of seeing some of that talent really start to flourish under foundations, under orgs, and having coaches, managers, analysts, nutritionalists, fitness people, psychologists even in some cases. It's about making sure that these diamonds in the rough do eventually become diamonds at this point. And I think you look at the different approaches, FPX very much setting their fundamentals, having a coach and analyst, making sure that they have all of the interpersonal stuff that they need. And G2, even them, their typical play style of just winging it a lot of the time, it feels like picking up a coach for the first time on a permanent basis since Mike's was a bit of a stand-in. So really, now that we're going into VCT for 2021, and this year will end in international play across the regions, it is exciting to start to see some of these orgs stepping up and going, hey, we're interested, we want to be involved, but also putting the money where their mouth is and making sure that everything is there for their teams to succeed. It's not going to happen for everybody. I'd be very surprised if things stay the same as they are currently in regards to power rankings and all that kind of stuff. This is the first part of it. Even this stream, this tournament, this is the first part of it. And I'm very honored to have you guys here to watch these games through with us. I imagine because this could be a bit of a long break, everybody's good. If not, we'll be going for a quick break and we'll be back when these guys are ready to sort of go. I think it's packet loss on Rams's side, so he wants to make sure that he's, you know, good to go in an important match like this. So we'll keep you updated. We'll go for a break, and when we come back, we'll be back into this series, so don't go anywhere. just as we take a break, we're going to be unpausing now. With any luck, Rams's systems, his connection, his packet loss is all much better at this point. Even then, there is a certain set amount of time that you can take for a tactical pause before you have to continue playing. Or I would imagine forfeit. I don't know those rules specifically, but the admin has told us that time is almost running out no matter what. So an unpause will be coming through sooner rather than later. And Big still behind. And Brams, whilst he's struggling, his team isn't. They're still in the lead, Timo.
That they are. That they are. Definitely difficult. You're experiencing issues like this. Kind of feels like a thorn in the side on your momentum. We do, of course, have the finish of the other map on the opposite side of the bracket. It is going to the full best of 5 as Oxygen will take split 16-14. The other one also went to overtime 14-12. So it does look like there's an evenly matched series, of course, on the opposite side. Whereas over here, on the Ryan Central stream, both teams are taking turns dominating each other. Except this one is probably the closest map that we've had so far.
Might have been baited out with this game on pausing some point soon, so we might have to go for another break at this point. Game should be continuing on. I think the admins, the TOs, wanted to make sure that the show continues, even though we might be running into issues. So again, we'll go for a quick break, go for a quick bio, grab a drink and stuff like that. And when we'll be back actually within it. We'll have the timer counting down. I don't imagine it's going to be too long, but we'll let you know. We'll see you in a few. We're in the server now. We're all good to go. And straight off the bat, FrenzyGoKill have taken a lot of aggression onto Mail. They wasted no time at all, but they don't quite spot God B hiding in this spot. The wall is going to come up and slow things down for a second whilst we catch our breath, Simo.
Oh,
almost pulled something with how quickly we jumped into that one.
I think Gobby did as well. The athletics up and over and under into the smoke. Does end up boiling down to a 3v3 once the action subsides. Obnox playing close back to the staircase. Trying to fight this battle, but BQ is going to come out the one victorious. Now the spike is being planted.
And it's an old-fashioned 2v2. Vac and Sender, this deadly duo, has won bigger odds, but look at where Vac is playing now. Actually, he's pushing beyond, and Aslan has to clear all of these angles. And timing might not be on his side, but his aim doesn't help out either. Has to smoke himself off. You've got these isolated 1v1 duels happening at the moment, but Aslan creates a bit of space, and Zodix is trying to use that opportunity to sneak in. But Sender's holding on, just manages to get the kill onto Aslan. We finally finished this half 8-4.
So during that break, I went into Photoshop. Yeah, believe it or not, during that break, I went into Photoshop, and I took in North America, there's like this brand called Full Send. I photoshopped out the S and I put in a C, and I put it up on Twitter. So Sender, you've got your first merch. You've got your first existing merch. full send is of course what you've been doing and consistently been doing. What a rock this guy is for FGK. Just an absolute stud. When they need him to frag, he frags. When they need him to support, he supports. And especially with all of the breach utility that he has and how effectively he's been using it, he sets up his team. And looking at a current setup, you've got the fault line here for Vac to be able to peek in. The Nanoswarm will stop that battle, though. And of course, Sheena shoulder peek, sees a couple of players. Oh, that's the spray through the smoke, but Aslan.
Here.
Of course, it's always Aslan. He'll find that victory. Sender just trying to help Vac survive this B main squish. And they'll actually push the player back. But they have been wrapped around. They're in a little bit of an awkward spot, Ryan.
Oh, and the wall puts him away as well.
Planted.
Frenzy need to break on through. Their position is very much clear and evident at this point, but nevertheless, Brams is going to try and pincer around. The double, triple stack of attackers have made their way in to a point now that they are holding within the defender's spawn almost. The stun is a good one, but Vac can't necessarily follow up onto God B. VQ at least is sort of bringing it close, but he's the last alive. Can't win that duel onto Obnox. It gets a third. And a fifth round for Big. You would imagine a save coming in from FrenzyGoKill at this point too.
Good answer back here for Big, especially after finishing the first half at a 4-round deficit. They'll catch back up likely here to 6-8. Haven't really seen these two teams force up on the second round bye. We see some teams only do it and some teams don't do it at all. I'm looking, of course, at Team Liquid. They love to force up on the second round pretty consistently.
Yep.
It's
Phase 2
in the name. Phase 2, yes, as well. And a few more North American teams. We saw that a little bit during the Winter Championship, but playing it a little bit safer. And unfortunately, it's not really that safe when you just walk into God B's sightlines. The man is still a legend after all. 4K on the round as it's down to the sender himself. And it's the ace. 2 aces in a game from God B. Are you kidding me? I know that it wasn't really like a special ace, but an ace is an ace after all.
I wonder how many aces one player has had in an official game. I can't imagine it's more than 2. God B at least puts his name on that kind of leaderboard that could be happening. A good showing from him, but you're right, they were playing up against pistols at that point, but it was important that he got the kills. Resurrect is good to go going into the first full buy of this half. It's worked out quite nicely, I guess, just making sure that they can feed him up on that ultimate. FrenzyGoKill, whilst they can buy some weapons, not quite having any ultimates nearly online at least.
Right there.
Shoulder peaks, just trying to win those early default battles, and Machina's actually going to push forward. Guess who supported him? Yep, that's right. It was Sender. The pick looked cool. Machina got the frag, but Sender supported. Alexer finds that pick onto Bram. Sender now has to play double duty as now the push is starting to come on both fronts. Machina with another, but he's out of Cloudburst, so he's got to respect God B. He sees the slow orb. There is a resurrection available, and they don't have a ropes player to push in. Slow orb will subside. God B now going to start to push forward, but the crosshair is there, and Machina with 3 on the round. Resurrection out of commission. It's now the tailwind forward Machina. The trigger gets pulled by Alexer down to Zonix in a 1v3. The paranoia comes in, the pre-fire to make sure that he doesn't push quite fast. And Sender will help BQ just by the threat of the rope sound. Secure that 3rd round conversion on the gun round.
It's an important one to win. They want to maintain this momentum. It was a bit of a pause, of course, with that final round of the first half.
This should do.
But you don't want FrenzyGoKill to cool down too much. And it's still money is fine, at least for Big to work with at this point. And God B, Resurrect still available. It's just a stinger in the hands of Obnox, and there's no Bladestorm yet for Aslan to use that and trade it out for a gun. Bladestorm is available for Machina. He has a Judge. Doesn't sound like he's going to be using it straight off the bat yet, but he's going to be holding on to this corner. Nobody else is playing from mid, so if he gets caught out here, he's going to have very little to trade him. But he doesn't need it. He's able to absolutely tear through them. Sender yet again coming to help out when necessary. The secondary peaks coming out of this man is just insane.
Like, this Now, I don't only think it's FGK. I think in Europe, playing the bait is quite consistent in these teams, right? They'll bait out a player and then swing on the second to trade, right? I don't think we see a lot of that in North America. At least that's what I'm not used to. I'm not seeing a quick bait, right? But the communication from European teams is so insane. And yes, Sender is a big part of that, but I think Europe as a general, but let's have a quick look at the replay here. Machina obviously finds so much value, but he also has Sender to help trade with the bait and switch. So here we go. They start to push forward. Sender's ready, looking in towards the main side, but as Machina's in trouble, having to tailwind to safety, Sender is there for the trade, and guess who he takes out? None other than Gabi.
It's been very difficult, to say the least, to find out who is a good and a bad Breach player. If you're just looking at stats, certainly it gets murky. But Sender not only has good stats, but you can certainly say he passes the eye test, and so does Machina's judge. He's still holding through, and Sender does it again. I know it's up against pistols at this point from Big, but it's just so consistent. Oh! It's mush now from Machina.
Oh my god.
He's just melting him down.
It's an eco, okay? I get it. I understand. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too excited. But this FGK team is so electric. I know
Machina was like, will it blend?
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. I know Yinsu's not going to be happy about this, but I think Summon Simo is going to have to be hung up on the rack. Now I'm a Sender Simo. Yes, that's exactly it. Sender Simo, FGK Simo. This team is so fun to watch. And it's because I like the supportive style. It's not like I'm looking at a, you know, incredible duelist play from Machina or Vac. Not to say that they're not great. They are great. But I'm really just here for Sender. That's it. Well, and you see, that's why. This team is not a duelist-focused team, despite Vac really doing quite well. A little bit overzealous was Machina. He does get punished for it. Sender trying to support as best as he can. Only so much you can do. Your Jet goes too far without you.
Big slowing down the play. I like it when they do this because they get Frenzy a bit antsy. The lockdown is going to be the main play, but Godby's position hasn't been predicted by Sender. Bram's forced away into this back angle. Might see a little bit of utility clear him out. For example, Nanoswarm or the Aftershock there chunks away a good portion of his damage as the Resurrect comes in. The flash is good. Fiku gets 2. The 3v2 is Bigger, looking to get the spike planted on the site.
Spike being planted, Vac and Fiku, the last one's remaining. That's going to be the body peek. Aslan trying to reposition, but he's in a little bit of trouble. Finds Vac. That's huge! As it's just down to Fiku, and Zonix will make sure that he does not get the opportunity to turn things around for FGK. 7-11, get your snacks, get your treats, because this map going the distance.
Still have more maps after this one as well, because it's a best of 5. First best of 5 I've ever casted. Might have another one after this, we don't know with the finals. Considering how the other semi-final is going the distance, we could be in for a pretty long night. Better get my takeaway order set up, because I might need to try and munch that down in the middle of some of these maps, because all of it is very competitive. All for one spot in the main event. Machina with the Jet has been certainly pound for pound close to what Vac was providing. And Vac has been providing a lot on the race. The fluidity and versatility of this team with the rolls is good, but Sender caught out completely from a very high contact play from Godby. They're looking to get a bit more by clearing out Brams in that angle. The spike again should get planted.
This B side has been a relative weakness for FGK, especially we saw a lot of that pressure coming in on the past few rounds, but they found out that B main is a little bit easier to push through here for Big. Once they have that control, they can easily decide where they want to go from there and have the players come in from heaven. Machina does find a classic kill, which is a little bit impressive, but he's being chased down. They have the spike planted, of course. Knife out. Not going to win that against Zonix. 8-11 as Big are slowly starting to catch up. We have to pay attention to that B main, Ryan, because it does feel like a weakness, and Big are definitely exploiting it round for round.
The money's still fine, though, for FrenzyGoKill after losing 2 rounds to still buy an impressive feat. And Ultimate's online to make some form of play, mostly from the Rolling Thunder, but we haven't seen it really used in an aggressive manner for creating space. It's usually for confirming the space they already have. I found this paranoia angle interesting just to see if they can catch somebody on ramp or ropes or bait out that it's going in that direction. Big are looking to put an old-fashioned execute onto A together. A little bit staggered and slow. VQ's camera's not going to find all that much, but the smoke just disappears at the worst possible time. And FGK know what's up.
And that's 3 smokes down. And Gobi doesn't even get the spike down. And you lose Aslan. What was all that for? All smoke and mirrors is what it looks like to me. Down to 3 players here. Alexa's going to find Machina. They're going to use that classic nade to flush out the pop player. He's still alive. He still survives after all that. He's going to reposition to elbow. But he is dangerously low. Ram's going to play contact towards Heaven while the rest of the team have to work through screens. This Heaven player isn't going to be allowed to peek. The paranoia as he pushes through. We're looking still at the perspective of Vac. He pushes in. First one comes easy. Elixir takes out the Heaven player, so they have to watch their back. Zonix with another as it's all down to Elixir. 1v2. Takes out VQ. One more, and it's Sender! Sender! He takes us to 12. Match point for FGK. It's Big need 4 to take us to overtime.
Worked out very well in the end. Just the Rolling Thunder to put so much pressure onto Obnox. All of the utility thrown in the right place. Could be a second out of 3 maps that FrenzyGoKill need to grab if they want to get to the grand finals, at least of these qualifiers. Big would have a very tall uphill task when it comes to bringing this one back, but they've been very well adverse to this across the series. I think Icebox is the next map as well, so at a pack your coat, we could be heading there very soon as a showstopper. Could be exactly that on the side of Vac. He's going to be playing more into mid. We know where Brams is going to, not Brams, sorry, Zonix is going to be with the operator. Forced to back off. The Blade Storm activated.
That's Gobi down. Oh, Machina almost finds that conversion. Oh, the showstopper from range. Aslan with the Blade Storm is down for the count. Big have got to come up huge. Turn this one back around. Lockdown's going to be in a very good spot to push the defense away as they quickly rotate over towards the A side. VQ, the anchor there, has a lot of that utility. Tags one, knows that there might be potential for a quick A hit, but they've slowed things down. 50 seconds left on the clock, and VQ is out of utility. Smoke out towards Heaven. And that's actually a TP backside. He's going to let that stop. Fault line is going to put VQ in trouble, but he's got a cage to hide in. And now as they start to swing around, he needs to find that frag. Excuse me as my voice gives out. He does not.
I wonder what the play is going to be here from Frenzy. All of this Heaven control is open for both sides to take, but both are a little bit tentative in how they want to approach this. Big and Alex wanted to make sure that they have as much utility set up just to watch a lot of these crossfires, but again, it's Sender opening this up with the flashes. The lineup was almost there. And Split is going to go the direction of FrenzyGoKill. We still have 1 map left to play at least. But another great performance from Frenzy. And
a big shocker to see what they've brought in, especially Sender off the Breach. I still think Breach can be useful on a map like this.
It's more the fact that they're playing no real concrete Sentinel. You've got Sender on the Sage, sure, and she's within that same role as Cypher and Killjoy, but it's almost like a sub-role in itself. It's a very interesting lineup. I'm very excited to see VQ debut on the Reyna of all things. But it's a tale of 2 teams, right? Big have pretty much played the same thing over and over again. Just a couple of changes here or there. For Brams, it's a nice flick actually from Zonix from the Poison Cloud. But every look on every map has been a little bit different for FrenzyGoKill, which is staggering considering they're a relatively new roster.
Shock Dart will tag Sender. Also important to know, Obnox off the Breach onto the Sage as well. And Gabi is going to be off the Sage onto the Sova up against Machina. Sova main. So we'll see how he performs onto that. Of course, now the push starts to come through. Aslan with 1, still the 3v4. Obnox with another, but it does get traded. There is a Reyna available. Sender right on top of the wall. Comes down to the 2v2. Alexa trying to flank from behind. Will VQ and company expect this as he's wrapping around the vents? There's the spike. It's ticking. VQ Headshot to the dome is going to take him down as it all falls onto the shoulders of Sender. Gabi pinches in from the opposite side. A solid retake there, boiling down to Alexer flanking all the way from Garage. Does find a Viper in the process and just continues to push forward, putting us really in a good spot for Big to start off this map.
Just need a moment to take in the rosters, really, how that changes. I think the first thing that stands out is both teams are still playing Sova. For the most part, in, again, the Nerd Street Gamers Winter Championships, which yet again is a different region, so you got to bear that in mind. It was mostly Sky, but there was typically no Sova at all. So it's interesting that maybe Europe considered it a little bit stronger within this region. Aslan is looking to try and face into multiple players, but the amount of bodies is too much for him to handle. Luckily, Zonix can pick out a couple. He does take a good crumb of damage, but managing to hold on tight for now as FrenzyGoKill. Free player still alive. Still trying to dedicate to A, but look at Brams. He's in mid. He's lurking all this way.
The crumb vacuum, so to speak, trying to pick up some of the frags left on the floor. Brams will find Obnox. Little out of position, and then of course Gabi. This is a great force-up round, I believe, for FGK. Something that we haven't really seen from them too often. It does come down to Alexer has the turret body peek if he wants to use it. That Viper wall doesn't quite extend underneath the rafters there. Sees Brams trying to rotate through. Oh, one's gonna come good. Now trying to defuse Brams with the swing. A solid round here for FGK. A good answer back for how that first initial round started, and I think it wasn't only down to Brams, but he played a huge factor in really opening up that round for FGK.
Gabi Sage has been a good look. Sova not so much when you're looking at the agents, and Obnox, well, it's the first time that he's picked up this role so far in this tournament, it seems. Brams has played all three of the different controllers across 2 series. The flexibility of this team really knows no bounds. They seem to be meta-proof. And a good force buy has worked out very well for them, and it's crippled Big, at least for now. Not too much forced up, but utility planted where it needs to be. Still could be a difficult challenge for FrenzyGoKill on this attack. It's very difficult to attack on Icebox in general. But they've chipped away a little bit of damage onto Vac. Could get healed up if the Sage comes to help him, but still, it's not necessarily the best look so early in this round.
Vac, I think, maybe saving for that op. Not really coming into this round with the most ideal weaponry, and as a result, you're really hoping that someone's going to lead the charge. Good ping there. Shock Dart comes through. He's in a little bit of trouble. There's the heal available, but he's just waiting for that Shock Dart to find a little bit more value. PQ on the lurk. Got to pay attention to how far and how deep he goes. Really, this round's just slipping away from the hands of Big. Zonix playing by Snowman, and he's going to be feeling frosty with his cold body on the ground. FGK now win that third round conversion, rather. And an important round for Big here. It's their gun round. Of course, it's been a little bit of an awkward situation since Big won the pistol, and then the round they were supposed to convert on went to the favor of FGK. This is a probably even more important round, considering they're down to just triple-digit credits.
4th round and the first full buy for Big. After winning the pistol, they now need to do it all. Alexar maybe messes up the timings, or that landed exactly where it wanted to. It's hard to say, but the Aldrun is going to scare him off on this angle. He activates the drone to make sure that no jet dash can come through to clear him off. And it does stall FrenzyGoKill for a second. The turret Paranoid isn't going to get too much information to work with. But Big are prepared. They're all starting to move across. There's no alert coming in. Just a good old-fashioned 5v5 stack and a lockdown. Planning to make sure that FrenzyGoKill can't push on beyond this.
This Viper wall as well is allowing them to have the space to play behind yellow to get into their sightlines accordingly. Of course, the wall is currently not up because they were waiting for that lockdown to dissipate and potentially maybe just say, hey, we're not even here. We've rotated over towards the A site. The wall's going to go back up, and now the push is likely going to start to come through. Sender with one through the Viper wall. The toxic screen is going to give him a frag back with the op playing
Planted.
very out in the open outside of yellow. He's gone. Down to the 3v3. Spike's ticking. Sender from the opposite side. He's just playing down low, not giving them a huge opportunity, but Zonix is now going to challenge him. Paranoia available. Here's the swing looking for Sender, but he's in the off angle, playing like an absolute mad lad. And speaking of mad, it's Vac the lad that finds that op shot from range, taking down Big's gun round. This is huge for FGK's momentum moving forward.
It's also key considering you have all 5 of the attackers from Frenzy coming from B main. As soon as that lockdown goes down from Big, they start to spread out, taking mid control, and Sender's position was key to that going their way. Really good stuff from them. 5 ultimates available to continue this forward momentum of the attackers. Big forced yet again to save. It was a bright start, but it's been all Frenzy ever since.
Cover going out. Stealing sight.
Now it's Zonix here trying to survive for as long as he can. And imagine Wall might go up to stop the push from coming a little further. Zonix playing close to yellow, and that might not be an expected position as he's just trying to shoot them down, trying to stop them from pushing forward. But he does get pinched out. Bram's actually, I don't know if I'd call it a lurk, but he's just playing contact for any players lurking around themselves. He's still going to be maybe dealing with Jet, but paying attention to the action itself. It's this eco that is coming up huge for Big. Down to the 3v2. Bram's on the lurk. He might find this over from range. It's going to come in easy, but it's down to the 2v2. Still, Vac has to deal with the Frenzy. He was looking for a tailwind, and now the 1v1. Viper's Pit is available. That's something to consider, but he's going to put the wall up. That's an op in the hand of Aslan, who's playing behind yellow. A sight line down low. Bram's playing up high. Drops down. Don't know if that was heard, as Brams is just trying to clear all possible angles. Knows that probably the op is in the hand of Aslan. Here's the close swing. Unfortunately, doesn't move fast enough. Maybe anticipating playing for Garage, playing for the longer sight line, but he's playing close. And that's a great round for Big. An eco for an eco, an eye for an eye.
Now stuff's starting to work out better. 9 ultimates across the board. The only one that isn't is the lockdown that we saw a little bit earlier. Excuse me, from Alex. It's good that FrenzyGoKill not only have enough economy to go again for this round, but also all of the ultimates still handy. Bladestorm is going to be the first thing activated. And a bit of an early engagement, maybe towards B main. We saw a bit of pressure coming in from Zonix, but he's backed out completely. And so far, so good for Aslan, who's scurrying around with the operator. Gets the headshot. Sender just leans right into the sight line. It is Vax Blades that are out. The Empress is going to join in from FQ. This aggression coming in rather nicely on A, and an opening onto Alex is a good start.
Recon Bolt's going to spot Vac, but I mean, we already knew he was there, at least for Big. But how many more players are here is the big question. Aslan just trying to get a little bit of a closer peek, but now the Viper Spit means that anyone down low has safe passage. But Vac caught out of position. FQ will make sure to answer back, and now, of course, it's still Spike being planted. Hunter's here to try to stop that. He's going to tag a few. That's going to allow the Viper Spit to be quite nullified as God B finds one. But there's still one playing in the smoke. Obnox trying to get the vertical res, jumps up and slam dunks it down to the 2v4. Gabi with the recon bolt here. Unfortunately, the bow and arrow is not going to work out for him, but the tags do come in. Because now they rotate over towards the B site. Zonix needs to make sure that he keeps this site safe.
Oh, he's making so much noise though. Zonix hears it. It's not been cleared at all. He almost whiffs the shot, but there's only 12 seconds left for Machina to make a play.
10 seconds
The issue is that Zonix doesn't really know where he is, but he's moved around the box. He's going to keep an eye, and as he hops down, Machina still wins that duel. I don't know if there's enough time. He's had to stall it out. He still wins the fight against Aslan, and just a second too late, peaks Obnox, who still wins the duel regardless. A crazy round. We saw 7 ultimates, 6 ultimates even, totally used up. And you've got to say the main one being that Hunter's Fury from Gobby gets the kill onto FQ, breaks apart this execute coming in onto A from FrenzyGoKill, and just keeps control with everything going on at the moment. Also, Obnox's res, very key to keeping Big in that fight.
Yeah, but you have to point out that Viper Spit used, and I think the Hunter's Fury was a phenomenal counter. Obnox up above. You need to see a little bit more to get involved. A great wall here to stop the push up tube. FGK really, I think, for the first round ever, are kind of looking towards that mid side, maybe looking for some early peaks, early picks. Speaking of early picks, Machina's going to find one. It seems like they prefer B, and in North America, they tend to prefer the A hit over the B hit, but we've seen a lot of that coming out here from FGK. Maybe it's a comfort thing, maybe it's this Viper wall that they love and allow Machina and players like Sender to get into positions like these where the defense can't really come in from emo. They can't really come from the window because they've got so much presence.
Aslan with the operator is going to scout stuff out, but Vac is trying to style and smoke his way on through. He actually wins that duel against Alexar with the Stinger. Aslan's operator is still finding impact, as is Scott B with a Vandal. Spike has still gone down. Resurrect available, but Sender's in such a difficult spot to get that to break on through that it's unlikely to be shown up here. Now, Aslan, God B don't really know where Sender's going to be. They might not be expecting him to be as close as this, but he comes in close and he wins the duel! Sneaky little Sender was a lot closer than Big expected, and what a clutch for the Sage to win.
Yeah, what a great play there from Sender. So well done. It does kind of bode well for him when Big line up like that. The op a little bit difficult to react, but just the tab comes through. And he's waiting. Patiently waiting. Good swing there from Sender. If he waited too long, they would have seen his shoulder, right? They would have seen him behind the box and they would have had the advantage. So he had to swing. He just timed it well.
It's also key that he got the kill and got B first, because Aslan had the operator, and it's very difficult to micro adjust in a scenario like that. A little bit of luck, but priority target working out in favor there as a crazy clutch coming on through. But now Big has to try and thrifty themselves. VQ with the Vandal is good for one. Zonix gets a couple of shots in with the classic, but it's Gobby that gets the final frag on with the Sheriff. And that's what gets some damage in, but the Sage still has the heal ready to go just in case. But another post plant that Big have to get through.
I really like this hit. We haven't seen it in North America because we haven't really seen a lot of teams play the B site. Aslan trying to flank from the opposite side through Banana, but only one player dies from FGK. The wall goes up, the spike goes down, and for the moment, Big have some form of an answer. I just would love to see Alexer. I don't think he's been playing so heavily on the B side. He's been playing mid-contact and A defense. Put that Nano Swarm where they plant default. Really don't allow them to have that comfort, because it seems like it's been working so well. You're seeing how many resources Big are committing this round to B, playing so much more closer, so much more contact towards Banana and Split. And for FGK, I like that they're playing default this round because they've conditioned them that the B hit is where they want to go.
Yeah, so many of the rounds are going to be won on the pre-plant instead of the post-plant for the defenders on B. It's all about stopping it before it happens. Speaking of which, Hunter's Fury on the attack is going to try and blend its way through the players on B, but look at how Zonix has slipped through the shots and managed to punish Machina's positioning.
Ooh.
Bit overstepping the boundaries for Aslan as Brams connects on with the Viper. And Godby lurking. It's attached to by the Leah, but he's still trying to hold on the best that he can.
Such great communication. Now here comes the resurrection. Don't have one available on the opposite side. Unfortunately, Sender does fall, and the person resurrected is out of commission. It's down to Vac. He's picked up the spike, and he's going to make it out of the lockdown as well. Got to decide how he wants to play this one out. There's a player in the mid. Tailwinds across. Don't think that was quite seen, but at least the jet has been heard on the opposite side of the wall. So Vac, how does he play this out? He's going to have to deal with a 1v1 at least to start. Has the op, which means he's got to make that first shot count. Updraft over. There's a player down below, and Obnox beats him to the punch. 4-5 as both teams going tit for tat round after round.
Good response from Big, considering how murky that fight yet again got on A. Aslan getting caught out can at least still get the operator in his hands. Mostly from the hands of Vac as he died with it, but he's still able to afford one. We get to see both these players playing the op role. Jet is going to be over on A. Shazam likes to play this spot. I noticed on Sentinels too. I'm clearly seeing that he's an aggressive facing opera on the defense, considering he pretty much dashed his way into the attacker's spawn from A. But this is another B execute coming in. The Eldron is going to at least get Obnox away from this angle. Does he expect the operator to come out and peek him? Now he does. The shot missed, and it's forced him away from the yellow box onto the B site. And FGK have been relatively good at being able to make use of this space, but no ultimates really to work with. Could be more challenging.
I like this wall because they think and assume that Machina has got through. It's so well timed. Headshot comes in onto Gabi, doesn't get the Hunter's Fury off, which means he can't stop the plant, but the plant never went off. Sender finds his counterpart into Obnox. They're making sure, at least for FGK side, that they watch the flank. Watch the flank. Watch the flank. No one's there. But we almost saw an op duel, Aslan and Vac. Vac's gonna find Zonix, as it's still down to the 2v4. Spike hasn't been planted yet, but they've got a lot of time. They might be just looking for picks as Vac, just barely finds himself into danger. Spike is in the hands of Sender. He can get involved, and after that op shot, he needs to get that Spike down. Aslan goes down with the blades, tries to tag one, pinging out that there's a player close right, finds that frag. One more onto Brams. Can he get it? They're playing behind yellow, and the Spike is in the open. Smoke going down, and Aslan in trouble. The spray's going to take him as he was down to 11. Now the 1v2, and that is too much of a task for Elixir to finish. But what great communication from FGK. I like that wall going down, Machina going over it, and finding Gabi early is really what I think secured them that round.
It's all about playing high contact, not using too much utility. So every time, the main thing is that every time that Brams plants that toxic screen across the grid. So basically, every time the Brams plants that toxic screen across the site, Big don't know whether they're dedicating or not. And when you have the attacking side not using any form of utility, nothing gives it away. There's no telegraph, and it makes it very tricky to hold a site like that. It requires so many bodies just to keep an eye on what's going on. Now you've got two players on the defense playing from this position because they can't contain what FrenzyGoKill are trying to do. Brams is just masterminding this map on the Viper, and it's working out so well. And a lot of pressure goes on to God B for being that intel player.
Wow.
VQ is going in aggressive and can at least heal himself up the damage that was caused. And the Empress is on the cards too.
Yeah, Brams is in a little bit of trouble here as well, as Elixir is going to find him and take him down. He was trying to play contact for any of the lurking players, and there are two. Still, Spike needs to go down here for FGK as it's trade for trade. Vac's going to go vertical and bring down another body. Down to the 2v2. The Spike is being planted. The spray through the double box not going to quite connect as it's down to Elixir. Ooh, the rain is going to come out on top, and it's the Empress that's going to heal him back up. Aslan just down to him. Drops down. The double swing. And that's all she wrote there for FGK. A solid round from them, considering Big's economy was a little tarnished. It's the last round of regulation here for this half.
Look at money the Big have to work with. It's not really enough to get much done. A Resurrect is great on the cards, sure, but the issue is if you don't really have that weaponry, it's very difficult to follow up on. You compare that to FrenzyGoKill, the money's fine, the ultimates are good. Viper's Pit didn't really find all the success that Brams wanted the first time he used it in this half. But 7 rounds on the attack is very good for Icebox. Do not get me wrong, Big have struggled to contain these defaults, these plays. It's so early in the lifespan for this team, yet they're playing like they've been together for months. Zonix at least holding in a nice corner, can get a couple of kills, and look at all of this information that Godby is being able to get with that recon dart.
And of course, these body peaks. The wall is going to go up, so he's going to at least have the ability to cross on over. They know where the Spike is located, and Big can play around that despite the weapons not really quite favoring them. They do pick it up. Gabi's in a little bit of trouble. Do FGK know that there are 2 players playing yellow? They do get spotted out, and now Brams is just crab walking along. He's going to get shot from the side. Still another player there. Gabi, Aslan as well, getting sprayed through the double box. He is injured and has to tail into safety, and it's all down to him alongside the Killjoy. Now just the Killjoy. Elixir flanking from the opposite side. You see that he was not well equipped for this round, and it's looking like this last round is going to be in the pocket here for FGK, but still a 1v2, especially with the Sheriff, is doable. And he's got the turret body peak. Plant now going down. Phantom upgraded for Elixir. Now very doable, especially when you tailwind like that. Now the turret down. Brams has to wait it out, has to consider where this is going. Alexa moving forward, and an off angle for Brams. The Viper spit going down to signify an 8-4 half for FGK.
And such a good half for Brams. Not only is he top fragged, but this Viper play is so good. He's been consistent across the Brimstone, across on the Omen. This was the biggest question mark for me with this team. Everybody else got their way to the first strike main event. No Penky with Vac. Exile actually didn't. I'll take that back, but they did get to that deciding factor game where they played against Summon, who came second. You can't really blame them for not qualifying in a game like that. And then, of course, Purple Cobras. Rams was the only real unknown. He's played with some pretty big names, but he wasn't necessarily a big name himself. I think it's the spam of the emotes, because he has been an exceptional controller player, and all of this roster is starting to shine. Well, great half for them. Big have it all to do now on this attack.
Tall task ahead, especially if FGK win this initial pistol, but it boils down on just that. Winning the pistol. First initial contact point goes to the way of Big. Aslan with the Frenzy, unironically taking down the round. 3 on the Frenzy for Aslan. A message has been sent as the spike gets planted. VQ will end up finding a revenge frag and being healed back up to full, but it's down to the 2v4. VQ alongside Brams slowly moving forward. There's a lot of big members here in and around. One player up above. First contact towards Zonix. Another player in the nest. Another player with the body peek. And, of course, there's just a lot of players here for Big. First one for Brams. Still trying to push forward. Obnox trades it out. An Elixir from the nest. Big finds some salvation in a round they needed.
It was very much needed. They can't keep letting friends... Can't keep letting FrenzyGoKill get away with it at this point. Aslan has struggled to keep the operator on a consistent basis, but at least now he's starting to get those frags when he doesn't have it at the same time. Big now with a full buy up. No force up at all this time from FrenzyGoKill like they did on the attack. A bit of B aggression, perhaps. They will run into Alex. He's going to be keeping an eye on here. He has his utility destroyed near enough instantly, but look at the pressure that's come in. Vac has pushed up all this way. He is jump peaked at this point, trying to survive and manages to dash up, but he still takes a nice portion of damage. Big having the gun advantage now. Have a bit of health advantage there too.
One down.
Another here for Aslan as they're just holding down the push back in onto the site. This is, of course, not a great round economically for FGK, but the lurk onto Machina does find a classic frag. Another one for Vac. Things are a little bit more doable, but quickly nullified down to the 2v3 as Sender pulling back with the Sheriff. There's a lot of injured members, and we're just waiting for the Sova to come back around. Machina, up to you. Big weapon in his hand. Sender's out of commission. Doesn't find the upgrade, though. There's one there. They're starting to wonder where he might be. The jump peak here, down to the 1v2, up on the ropes. James Bond style, but it's Obnox that finds that one. And we'll be within 2, 6 to 8 for Big.
It's important that FrenzyGoKill maintain this consistent lead that they've been managing to have. Big have only been able to string 2 rounds together at most, as you see in the scoreboard. A lot of pressure for them to deal with. When it comes to ults on the board, you have a Resurrect almost, Aslan having a Blade Storm.
As one.
Really too much coming up for Frenzy right now, at least. But Brams, it's how he uses this Viper utility on the defense. On the attack, it was sound. The Eldron is going to try and scout him out and tag him. It's going to at least attempt to, but it's a nice Poison Cloud that's at least going to make sure that the Eldron doesn't get much. This utility is still going to connect from Big. It's forcing Brams away. But if he can get a kill here, a spectacular way to maneuver around what Big are trying to throw at him.
Oh,
That's
they stack
nuts.
up. They almost line up for him. He finds one. Aslan will trade him. BQ down back behind. A classic smoke, and he's got to back away to Snowman. The only Snowman that's being built is the potential for Snowman on the A site. They pull back and now start to pull back forward. The defense has maybe given up and pulled some of those members back. We see Vac wrapping back around towards that A site. Machina playing contact towards the tube. Still waiting for that push, that big push. Aslan is going to be leading that charge with the Blade Storm. Now the spray through. They still can't quite have that same effect that FGK had on the attack. Just afraid to push in. They don't have the Sage. They don't have that Viper utility that allowed them to be kind of illustrious.
30 seconds.
They have to go in raw, and that's definitely one way to do so. But FIQ finds one on the way out, which for this gun round still keeps things within contention.
It's this slow move across that's been read so well from FGK. Machina is actually going to be able to pounce on it too. Are they going to expect this closely? They do. The utility is thrown right on where Alexar is playing from, but he still gets the one kill. Sender now bringing it all to just Aslan on his own. Nice little double peek from various crossfires. And just a good hold. Comes down to, again, Brams being able to stand his ground and at least get one kill onto Big before he's traded. Not only that, that kill was Obnox. He had the Resurrect. That round could have gone differently if some of those players were brought back into the server. And Big can't still string some of these rounds together on a consistent basis, but they can still afford.
Economy nearly breaking here for FGK, just trying to maintain their lead. They win this one, they don't have to go to another, but Big are fighting hard to stay in this best of 5. One way as Aslan pushes forward. The rest of the team stuck behind it as Bram's now going to get shot by the push through the one way by Obnox. The wall now going to go up. They're going to try their hand at a similar execute. Aslan just really being, I think, the biggest problem for FGK, playing around yellow so confidently, not allowing anybody to peek. Anyone challenges, good luck fighting Aslan. He's just going to pick him off one at a time. Back finds one, back finds two, back from Snowman. But it's again Aslan, the big problem here for FGK.
He's got to save these bullets now. He's used up a few. Manages to isolate one. He even gets another onto Obnox. This spike could still go down. But it's so far away for Alex to deal with. And Vac is so little health. He knows that the spike's not going to go down. The turret could be very dangerous at this point. And Alexar wins that duel just as Vac makes it close. So it is a 7th round for Big. But it keeps Big's economy in check. They have to buy up. And you can see on your screen, 0 credits for Aslan. They are struggling right now. But it is a force, at least a little bit of one for Frenzy.
Tough spot. Tough spot to be in here for FGK. Just trying to maintain your lead over Big, and Big are fighting hard and fast. And I still think Aslan's such a problem in this second half. And for the first, it was Brams, to be quite honest. Just the utility that he provided. But now in the defense, really struggling to keep his team safe. Vac gets first contact. Oh, sit down, Aslan. Just as he comes down, the resurrection brings him back, and Vac is ready on the opposite side. Try me, if you will. I'm coming for the jugular.
And this is an eco round for Frenzy. It does mean that a big ultimate is expensed because of that play. There are 4 other ultimates that Frenzy could be using at this point too. So it is a chance of maybe we can pull off this thrifty if we dedicate a few ultimates, but is that worth the risk? That's a question a Frenzy are asking themselves at this point. They could give up this round, and they don't want to let Big back in it. Brams, again, has been playing in this position with worse utility and worse weaponry at this point. It's just going to fire up a little curtain to just help him peek some of these angles and break it apart one by one. But the jump peek is going to get a lot of information, and it isn't quite pressed on by Big. But you saw Aslan dashing his way to the big box, provided space, and Alexar on the lurk.
30 seconds left.
Finding a lot in the kitchen.
Spike planted.
Spike, of course, does end up going down. Back, I think, really the saving grace here for FGK. If he can find Aslan, that could be huge. He does go in, but Obnox is there instead. Okay. Maybe Sender's got something to say about it. Sheriff shot onto Aslan, but Obnox will send him down as well. Should be around that Big, can clean up. Another one for Obnox. He's just holding down the spike. Just down to Brahms. In a 1v4. And this B site, so contended for both teams. So used to the A site being the major focus. He doesn't have time. Might as well try. Might as well try.
Chat, is it Brahms or Brahms? Also, is it Alexar or Alexor? See if I'm calling it. I can't do it without going into a Bristolian accent if I'm calling him Alexor. Just naturally. The last time that Big brought this close in a map, it was Ascent, and they won it. Managed to pull it back from a pretty difficult first half, but everything started to come together in the second. It's happening here again. Unless this series wants to end on bind, Frenzy need to pull some of these rounds, and a very early Viper's Pit towards A is certainly going to coerce Big into maybe heading B at this point. But that's where an operator is. An interesting strat from Frenzy, but is it going to pay off?
I think I have to pay attention where Aslan leads the charge here.
I got the spike.
Still might end up going to B. He's going to push it forward. Owl Drone will spot them out, and maybe they'll have to reconsider because they get stopped incredibly early in the push. Brahms really up to him here to hold the line forward. May expect maybe Aslan to go up and over to drop back in or something like that, but the Owl Drone's going to be up and ready. Here comes the orb as well. Double the decay. Sees the spray, and he's going to find one trying to escape, get to safety, and does so successfully. Does get tagged out, and Obnox is there to pick him up. There goes the Viper Spit. Obnox doesn't realize that Machina was back there, but he gets taken care of by Zonix. Down to the 3v4 with the spike down. This round will put Big tied up 9-9 as the Empress is popped.
FQ having it all to do. Got be one of the main reasons why the Viper is out of the server for the second time. So key when these engagements come in and the ultimates start to come aloft, but that's a nice connection on FQ. Does he expect this player in the corner? Not quite enough at the right time. Obnox is still lurking. The spike is touched, but it's not enough. Now it's all for Sender to do, but a nice trade out from Alex. The score being tied, and again, Godby getting that recon bolt directly to hit onto Brahms with the Viper. Second time that he has been the reason why that Viper's Pit has dropped down. Ooh, we have a series there.
That we do. That we do. For FGK, you had a pretty solid first half, but now things are not really coming together into the second. Really struggling to defend, and with the economic disadvantage up ahead, Big gonna put themselves likely up by 2 rounds. Vac just trying to get into an early position with the Classic, but don't think he's going to find a lot of success. Hunter's Fury as well is going to make things a little bit more easier. Machina will pick that one up with communication from Vac. But Big are coming in strong. Shock Darts don't even tag anybody. Owl Drone just to spot out where those players are located. Resurrection onto God B for economy. That 5-stack is still strong.
Marshall connects onto Aslan, but not enough to really concern him at this point. Machine and Brahms. Brahms has done so well to sneak across, but Alexar just spots him at the right moment. The toxic screen not really helping him out too much there. Machina's position yet again. The recon dart is going to show exactly where he's going to be playing from. 34 HP, the utility falling through. Can at least still kill God B. But Big having the lead again. Only 3 more rounds we had to bind. And a little bit of a staggered start on this defense. Only 1 round out of 7 total for the defending side of Frenzy. An operator in the hands of Vac again, but it's not really found all that much so far this half.
Yeah, Obnox and Aslan playing exceptional, especially Aslan, putting his team on his back this half. As casters, we usually have to get out of the habit of giving a lot of credit to the duelist, but he has been really taking those initial fights. That's really been a big crutch for FGK, and speak of the man, he is gone out of commission. Another shot doesn't connect for Vac. But it's down to 3 here for Big. TP backside. A is wide open, but Alexa's ready. Tags him. Oh, we'll chase him down. Down to 2 here for Big. And they're funneling on towards the A site. An opportunity here for FGK to finally find redemption.
FQ's position here is nice. It's whether it gets cleared or not as these 2 players are making their way in. Use it to dismiss. Knows Obnox is there, but the timings are just a little bit off. They gets caught out. Still not really too much he can work with. Very far away from having a resurrect. Trying to see if he can get somebody out. See if he can bait away from picking up the orb. But wherever he checks his left, that's where Abrams is. The wall goes up right in front of his face.
Yeah.
But it's Sender that brings it to 10-all. I really like how Frenzy are so good at trading for each other. Just consistently. Yes. They are caught completely by surprise on Alexar's lurk. But FQ is always there, man. He's always there. I gotta say that Alexar's Sentinel role for this team has been super standout. He usually plays stuff like the Rays and such. But since Obnox's addition, he's been playing a Sentinel. And I think to a pretty strong level. Been good from Big. Is it good enough to bring us to a 5th map?
One ultimate available only here for FGK. Aldrone will spot out Brams, but he's got to get away. Vac is not there for that angle that he was playing from range. One way is going to go back up, but Gabi is leading the charge here instead. Great lurk play through Emo. Does get punished. FQ is going to find that one. Now they don't really have any pressure towards the mid side. This might really warrant Sender to push forward. He might just still hold the angle. A lot of ground has been covered once again here for Big on towards the B site. Empress popped for FQ. Just felt like he had it a round or 2 ago. But still has to worry about Aslan. That's the big problem. He's got an op and he's got an angle. And of course, he might swing here. He's ready for it. Leers after Leers after Leers. Obnox with 1. There's going to be the dismiss. Gets him to safety. They've got to deal with FQ if they want to get this spike down.
Aslan's been trying to watch this angle, but now is going to be a bit more aggressive with the Blade Storm. Wins that duel from distance onto Sendu, trades out Alex. FQ is still there. He gets a 3rd, and Vac helps him out. The lead is brought back from Frenzy. And FQ, the Cypher player from Exile way back when, is killing it right now on the Reyna.
And that's quite surprising because based on how they've been playing throughout the entirety of this tournament, FQ has been playing and a little bit leaning more towards the Sentinel role. Reyna is the farthest thing from a Sentinel. The information that you're getting is your own body peak with dismiss, whether Empress is on or off, right? And yet here we are. Here we see a great performance from him, especially to keep up with Vac. But to me, really, the MVP of this one has been Brahms. Early peak here for Vac doesn't go quite as planned. Has to use the tailwind early, but BQ's in an off angle. There's going to be the tailwind forward, and Aslan is down. BQ to safety. Vac finally connects. It's down to Zonix, trying to get those head taps right over the vent, but he's down to 26. Gabi finds what Zonix has been missing. Leer, reload, lockdown in effect. Here comes those arrows. Shock Dart not going to connect, but Gabi does. Up shot, not for Vac. Down to 2 with Gabi on 3. Brahms now having to rotate. Resurrection is available, but all the bodies are lined up back site. Down to Sender and Brahms. Look who's wrapping around. Is Brahms going to find him in time? There's the swing, and it's Sour, but he answers back Sender. It's all down to you in the 1v1. The knife out, the swing. It's Gabi, of course. It's Gabi. Ladies and gentlemen, 11-11. We are so close to the end of this half. Will FGK push forward, or will Big give us that map 5?
Gabi taking the game by the reins there. He's somebody that I've certainly been criticizing of not mechanically being up to par as some of his teammates or opponents. That 4K shows that he still has it. One of the reasons why Big is still in this one, a Hunter's Fury available for him. Sender had the Resurrect, couldn't find an opportunity to use it. It's only natural that this would go all of the way in its conclusion. Overtime could very much be a part of this too. But Big, 2 more rounds and we go to another map. Finals for 2. Oh, and that's a key kill. VQ getting caught out on the flank. It's the first mid push that we've seen.
Whoa.
And the strategy, the wall pushing up. How are Frenzy going to deal with this? Because it's all based on timing and expectations. But the boost comes in. And Machina is lurking.
Yeah, he might be able to see one spot to left. Zonix is playing back. Sender's gonna almost find two. Gabi does not even get tagged. Vac will find Aslan. That's a big pick. This boost, it worked out initially. Zonix now has to deal with Machina. This boost is working out horribly for Big. It was a great idea at first, but now the shoulders of Gabi, how strong are they? 1v2, 36 HP. Sees those shock darts come through. Has to reload the clip. But is the clip enough? It's Brahms that takes him down. Ladies and gentlemen, 12-11. What a series. What a series this has been. And it could end right here, right now.
The fact that Frenzy had an idea of what was going on there was superb. The improvisation skills from this team over this tournament has been next to perfection. This is a team that has only been together, if a couple of months at that, and they're being able to read some of these wildcard strategies that Big are trying to put in. Do they have any more? Look at the economy. Alex having the sheriff. Zonix not having much either. A resurrect again. Hunter's Fury still good for God B, who's been great towards the end of this map. FGX are in a position 1 foot in the finals. A key kill onto God B, but it's traded out very nicely from Aslan. The resurrect is going to bring this a 5-4 in favor. The FQ not going to be the first death on his team this time. Pulling back just a little bit.
4v4, drop down. Sender still has the resurrection, so they can bring somebody back into the fray. But now the Hunter's free for the attack. VQ with 1. Aslan pushing forward. It's all down to him, but he gets tagged by the Hunter's Fury. There's the body peek. Now the action continues. Shock dart, and that's Aslan down. Gabi trades with the shock dart. 3v2. As it does boil down to Elixir. He'll find Sender. That's the resurrection down. That's all they needed. And they'll pull back to B, but Brahms is going to play contact. Maybe not let that spike get over. He's slow walking with the knife. And Elixir may be the last one standing as Gabi has to cross this deathly canyon. Brahms is waiting on the opposite side, and he takes him down. Elixir, last one remaining.
One enemy remaining.
Finds Machina, and now it's down to the 1v1. Brahms knows where the spike is located. He's playing for Tube. It's down to the 1v1. Turret's available. Here's Elixir coming. This might be the most anticlimactic finish. There's the peak. There's the swing. And there is the victory. Ladies and gentlemen,